Chapter 5250. Senior, I'm here to exchange the treasure. Jian Wushuang didn't talk nonsense and went straight to the subject. The white-bearded old man, unlike Qiu Huang, looked overwhelming. After looking at Jian Wushuang, he faintly replied, "Well, you have a lot of treasures on your body. What do you want to exchange for?" Wow. With that, the old man with horns waved his hand, and countless treasures were floating in the hall. The distribution of treasures is like a triangular pyramid, and the lowest level is the cheapest peak treasure. Further up is the innate treasure, and even the innate treasure suit, and the best innate treasure. From small to high, inferior congenital supreme, medium congenital supreme, upper congenital supreme suit, best congenital supreme. Then there are a few special ancient secret treasures. These secret treasures are completely unique. Their types and powers are different, and the price is more than 500,000 treasure points. "Senior, I want to exchange candle dragon wings," Jian Wushuang said firmly. The candle dragon wings of dreams. One of the accessories of the beast soldier candle dragon. He now has the eye of the candle dragon. Combining the two, his strength will skyrocket again. Many people now think that he is a half-step emperor, but in fact he is not at all. Although the two of divine body and swallowing had improved a lot, there was still some distance from the half-step emperor. Don't look at him swallowing the devil with 1,000,000 in one blow. He really wants to fight with the half-step emperor. He can save his life, but he will definitely not have the upper hand. With the candle dragon wings, he can truly display the power of the half-step emperor. Candle dragon wings. The eyes of the old man with horns lit up, and then he leaked a look of shock. "Haha, good. But you have to wait a moment. There is also a little guy on the other side, who wants to exchange the treasure." Jian Wushuang leaked the color of doubt. "Wait. Is there anyone faster than him? No matter how fast he can come in, he can redeem that 800,000 candle dragon wing. How can someone rank in front of him?" Making the old man with horns so happy. Although Jian Wushuang was a little puzzled, he didn't dare to say more. Anyway, he had already said that he would exchange candle dragon wings, and he had enough treasure points on his body, so he didn't believe it. Someone could cut him horizontally. After just a few breaths, the old man with horns was full of joy, and he faced Jian Wushuang again. "Haha, okay." The old man with horns smiled, then looked at Jian Wushuang and said, "You want to redeem the candle dragon wings, right? Take out your identity token." After Jian Wushuang took out the token, he automatically flew towards the old man with horns. It's just that when he looked at the pyramid-shaped treasure again, he found that the imitation of the eternal treasure, 8 Fang Yunlong seal, that had been standing at the top of the tower had disappeared. He was stunned, and then his eyes flashed before he realized that the imitation eternal treasure was exchanged. No wonder the old man with horns had to be distracted to deal with it, and let him wait here. It turned out that someone had exchanged the 8-faced Yunlong seal. Huiking's record should be enough, but his long stick has almost unlimited power, especially after inheriting the inheritance. Not only has his strength skyrocketed, even the brown long stick has become silver, even more than before. Be strong. There is no need to redeem the imitation eternal treasure at all. It is better to redeem other treasures, if there is that treasure. Except for Huiqing, there is only the 10,000-star heavenly emperor, and he also has 1,000,000 treasures. It was originally a half-step emperor, and he also cultivated a certain emperor's genius, and now he has obtained the eternal treasure of imitation. Wang Xing's strength is probably going to skyrocket again, approaching the emperor. But as long as the candle dragon wings can be combined with the candle dragon eye, according to the old man with horns, the beast weapon is really so powerful. After the combination of the two, it should be comparable to the imitation of the eternal treasure, Jian Wushuang secretly guessed. Huh. The old man with horns stretched out his hand to grab the treasure floating in the hall. The candle dragon wings exuding endless power were carefully taken out by him. It was also the first time Jian Wushuang saw this pair of candle dragon wings, and when he looked closely, he discovered that the color of this pair of wings was not scarlet. Only at the end of the wings there was a scarlet color, and most of it was still black, but the scarlet color was like a streamer, And when the wings moved a little, the scarlet halo would also tremble. Yeah, your luck is also very strong. You have one of the accessories of the beast warrior, and another is in the hands of another little guy. But I think you are a little stronger than the opponent. It seems that you have hope. Make up 3 pieces of candle dragon accessories. The old man with horns slowly commented. If it's a complete beast weapon, he doesn't even have the qualifications to watch. But he doesn't care about the smashed ancient soldier, because he himself was an extremely powerful casting god, and also a powerful warrior under Kishin's command. Although his strength was not strong, he was able to refine treasures. Many of the treasures in this treasure house were made by him, especially the imitation of the eternal treasure, 8 Fong Yunlong seal, was made by him. That's why he was so excited when Wanqing exchanged that treasure. The Bafeng Yunlong seal was refined in ancient times, but unfortunately it has always been stored in the treasure house. The 5th Order Emperor made it more than enough the 4th Order Emperor could exert its full power. Although it was exchanged by a Dian immortal, Wanxing's talent, as long as he succeeded in harmony, it would be to sit around and look around for 5. The 4th Order Emperor is very simple for him. The 5th Order Emperor depends on good luck. Now that the time and space are long in Hanoi, how can there be more fortune than the Temple of Qishan? As long as the Wanqing combination succeeds, the Qishan Temple will definitely cultivate vigorously. The 5th Order Emperor is really nothing. You know, the 5th Order Emperor of the original universe, when Dian Immortal, was not so against the sky. The Arcana points were deducted, and Jian Wushuang also got one of the accessories of the coveted Candle Dragon. Candle Dragon wings. He couldn't wait to recognize the Lord directly, and when the blood dripped on the Candle Dragon's wings, a dragon roar sounded. This is the once overlord of the starry sky, Candle Dragon, the innate emperor. It is conceivable that the secret treasure refined with his body is more powerful than Jian Wushuang's cognition. At least this pair of wings can't be damaged even if the emperor and the strong attack with all their strength. Of course, Jian Wushuang is not invincible with it. If the emperor really wants to kill him, he can see through his origin and divine body at a glance. There is no need to break this Candle Dragon wing. Moreover, the strength of Candle Dragon's wings is not defense. Defense is nothing more than passive means. The truly powerful place is the power of its own space. The Candle Dragon is a space beast god, and his wings account for more than half of the credit. With it, Jian Wushuang can also improve his understanding of space, and his speed can be incomprehensible, at least under the emperor. He has the confidence to aspire. His own speed is fast, and the speed requirements of Kendo are also very high. Even among Dao monarchs, his speed still ranks among the top. MX Chapter 52-51. Except for the Blood Moon Dao monarch and the 10,000 Star Heaven Emperor, who broke out with all his strength, he was a bit unsure, and other people might not be as fast as him. Now with the Candle Dragon wings, his speed will absolutely crush the same level, surpassing the Emperor by half a step, and even faster than those heaven-defying Dian immortals. I truly achieved my first degree under the Emperor. Jian Wushuang took a closer look and plunged into it. When he used the Beast God realm again, he frowned. It's over, Jian Wushuang secretly said in his heart. The speed is the same as he imagined, and it suits him incomparably. But what he wants most is the fusion with the Eye of the Candle Dragon. Although he dare not extravagantly ask for a complete beast weapon. But as long as the two are fused with each other, the power of this ancient treasure can be comparable to those imitations of eternity. The treasure is. Now it is incompatible, and the value is greatly discounted. Fortunately, when cooperating with the Beast God domain, his speed did increase by more than one level, only to make up for him slightly. If other people exchanged this, wouldn't they be off? Spent so many treasure points only increased the speed. Seeing Jian Wushuang's doubts, the old man Yangjiao slowly said, "Little guy, do you feel that the two can't be completely integrated with each other?" The old man with horns, who has seen everything, sits in great danger. Jian Wushuang opened his eyes and nodded respectfully. That's right. Since the Beast God soldier was destroyed, although there are still a lot of powers left above, The cost to restore it is very high. The old man with horns grasped the small hammer in his hand and said lightly. Jian Wushuang was frowning, and the master spoke. It seemed that the price of wanting to merge was really extraordinary. Master, I don't know how to merge. Now that he has obtained this ancient secret treasure, and its power is so powerful, he can be inspired by a great Yinxian. Even after entering the emperor, it can help him a lot. Especially now that there is an opportunity for the two to merge with each other. As long as the fusion can be comparable to the imitation of the eternal treasure, even if he reaches the fifth order emperor, it is extremely useful. This is a secret treasure that can increase the divine body. Great value. In the primitive universe, the most heaven-defying special life has tens of thousands of divine bodies. Now with the eyes of the beast god, he can barely explode to 8,000 times. If the two merge, it is not impossible for him to increase the basic divine body more than 10,000 times. Divine body origin. These are two paths for practitioners. The former affects combat power, while the latter affects the realm. Both are indispensable. Now his origin Dao is strong enough. Even if Sword Dao can't break through in a short time, he can still be comparable to the half-step emperor, and his soul realm rises very quickly. It is not impossible to break through the ninth revolution, and he will be able to improve at that time. What is needed now is the strength of the divine body, and the subsequent devouring demon lord's attack. He himself is not very sure. Seeing Jian Wushuang's face solemnly, the old chauffeur man said a few words for his great respect. If you want to merge, it is not difficult. It depends on whether you are willing to spend it. Jian Wushuang's eyes were firm. This opportunity should not be missed. The fusion of the beast gods and soldiers could only be done by the great power in the temple of the gods. If he really went out, his eyes were blackened and he was blinded. No matter what the price, I'm willing, Jian Wu said with a calm expression on both sides. The old man with horns nodded lightly, and then said, if you want to merge, you must be the best caster in the universe. This old man can do it, and the rest is much simpler. You need 5 heavens and earth. Origin, 4 of them are in the treasure hall. You can redeem them. Respectively the origin of gold crystal, the origin of wood crystal, the origin of fire crystal, and the origin of earth crystal. Jian Wushuang wrote down one by one the origin of the 4 heavens and the earth. He had some memories, and he probably glanced at it once. The prices are all around 100,000 treasure points. Now he has 3 million treasure points on his body, and after deducting the 800,000 yuan of the eye of the candle dragon, there are exactly 500,000, which is enough. As for the origin of the space, it won't be too late to redeem it after a few waves of praise. Even if it is exchanged by other people, it's okay. He has the candle dragon wings, and the speed of understanding the origin of the space is also very fast, although it can't be improved significantly, but the price is lasting. As for the treasures, these are all things outside of the body. As long as they can improve their combat power, they are worth it. Jian Wushuang didn't care about this at all. In the next 3 waves, there are more than 10 million treasure points. He can at least win half of it. Although the more difficult he is, the confidence to win half is still there. Moreover, with the candle dragon wings, the speed can be even higher. Quickly, he can walk in the devouring demon lord. The origin of the 4 heavens and the earth, 400,000 treasure points. Thank you, senior, Jian Wushuang respectfully said. Then he asked with some doubts. Senior, I don't know where to redeem the rest of the original source. The rest? The old man with horns smiled slightly. All he could do was within his scope. The remaining share is with him. Although he knows it, he can't tell Jian Wushuang that the first 4 shares are in the treasure hall, and they are public. He said it and said, but the remaining share is not public. He can't speak out. Little guy, I can't tell you where the rest is. The horns shook his head steadily. Jian Wushuang's expression was taken aback. Can't tell him, what does it mean? Can't tell him. Why did you say so much in the first place? Let him play. There is still something hidden. Jian Wushuang guessed from the bottom of his heart that he was like an ant on a hot pot, very anxious. It's a little bit worse every time. It's really uncomfortable. Jian Wushuang had an idea, and asked tactfully, "Senior, I don't know this last source. Do I have any hope of obtaining it?" This is a very sophisticated question. Even if the Temple of Qishan has control over the old man with horns, it won't care about it. The old man with horns also leaked a hint of smile, with a rudimentary expression, nodded to Jian Wushuang, and smiled lightly. This can tell you that there are still opportunities, especially in the 11th wave, your hope. It's huge. Some happy old horns also narrowed the scope a lot, which made Jian Wushuang very happy. By the way, the name of this last source is similar to the names of other sources of heaven and earth. The old man with horns continued. Jian Wushuang's pupil shrank, and he said in surprise, "The origin of the crystal? Correct. Thank you, seniors, for answering the doubts of the juniors. The juniors will remember." Jian Wushuang bowed deeply. This time it was from the heart. He remembered all those who helped him on the path of spiritual practice. "Xianni." Jian Wushuang bowed. Thinking of the mentor who had been of great help to him in his mind, his eyes flashed, and he was a little sad, not only muttering to himself, "Teacher Xianni, will we meet again? Since my farewell, I have grown a lot." Chapter 52-52. I don't know when I will meet and show what I have learned, so that you know that I have been moving forward over the years, never staying, and follow the teaching. Recalling the Tao of my life, it was left behind by the reason Xuani. This is his enlightenment teacher. Although I also knew in my heart that teacher Xianyi had a plan, the reasons for never showing up are complicated and confusing. But the respect in my heart has never disappeared. When he raised his head again, Jian Wushuang put away his emotions. "Go, little guy, you can come to me after all these sources are gathered. The old man is still a little good on the road of casting." After speaking, the old man with horns put away the treasures and disappeared in the hall. Jian Wushuang's figure flashed, and he also left the hall. He just went out and ran into the 10,000-star Heaven Emperor, who was also teleported out. When the two met, they didn't say much, they just nodded slightly. His ranking really surprised the 10,000-star Heavenly Emperor. It seems that there is another opponent. Wan Xing secretly sighed in his heart, but with the imitation of the eternal treasure, coupled with his unique knowledge. Among the half-step emperors, he is considered to be at the top. The two passed by. Jian Wushuang went to the treasure hall next door. Wan Xing left the city lord's mansion. Boom! Stepping into the palace, the familiar figure and smile came into view. "Haha boy, you are late this time. That space treasure has already been exchanged." Qiu Huang laughed. He seemed to want to see Jian Wushuang regret it. It was a pity that he was disappointed. Jian Wushuang just sighed faintly, and didn't care too much. "Huh, you are not calling at all?" Qiu Huang asked in confusion. Jian Wushuang said with a smile in his voice, "Enlightenment is not forced. If you can't get it, then fate has not arrived. That treasure is really not attractive to him now, so forget it. Even if there is, he will first exchange for the 4 origins of heaven and earth." He touched the threshold of the origin of space, and then he raised it, and got the recognition of the origin of space, and he traveled in space ever since. Can't improve too much, now the trial is getting more and more intense. What he needs is a qualitative change in strength, so that he can become stronger in Vietnam. Now every point in his strength can get a substantial return. This kind of opportunity is not many, he has to cherish it. Qiu Huang squinted his eyes, nodded slightly, and said in a tone of educated younger generation, "Well, yes, it's really unusual that the mood is frozen, at least the old man. I don't think you are telling lies. 1 is 1, 2 is 2. The juniors don't have to coax the seniors." "Okay, what are you going to exchange this time? It seems that you have a lot of treasures. I will give you some advice, old man." Qiu Huang rubbed his hands, and said with some excitement. Jian Wushuang didn't understand why this old guy liked to recommend treasures to people so much. Could it be that he sold a lot and got commission? However, thinking of the last time he was scammed, he had an idea, pretending to be pious, and asked Qiu Huang to recommend it to him. Sitting on the throne, Qiu Huang waved his hand, and took out all his belongings, and began to give directions. Every kind of treasure said that the sky was falling into the sky, Jian Wushuang did not say a word, and silently nodded to the side to express his approval. In the end, Qiu Huang jumped out of almost 500,000 treasures, and once again elaborated on the stakes, and how useful it would be for Jian Wushuang in the future. Many of them are really useful treasures for Jian Wushuang in the future, especially the treasure of perfect flesh. Harmony is not only a test of the original Tao, but also a test of the divine body. I won't say much about the two. The strength of the physical body can also increase the chances of Hadao, especially when the physical body is cultivated to a state of immortality. Even if the physical body is torn and shattered by humans, it can be reunited. Falling down can leave the physical body for countless years and remain the same. Jian Wushuang recognized this. According to Qiu Huang's plan, the physical body is also hierarchical. The first is to cultivate to consummation, and then divide the body into the upper, middle, and lower grades, as well as the special supergrade demon body. Although Qiu Huang was boasting of being extremely powerful, Jian Wushuang remained unmoved. These things had to be discussed after he had transferred to other halls. He didn't know much about the physical body. He only knew that Mo Long had cultivated to consummation, and he was still a very strong one. The backlash of the Blood Jade Palace had never made him fall. That is the innate treasure suit. The backlash is extremely powerful. The ordinary Dian Immortal had to fall, but he was forced to carry it down. The power of the physical body is also related to the divine body. At that time, Mo Long also had the Eye of the Candle Dragon. After the increase of the divine body, coupled with the consummation of the physical body, he possessed such a powerful physical power. Jian Wushuang knew that Qiu Huang was selling Guanzi, so he took the initiative to ask, "Senior, you said that a body can be 1,000 times as a top-grade body, so how many times a god body is needed for this supergrade?" This, Qiu Huang narrowed his eyes with a look of yearning. "You are dissatisfied with that. I myself was only a top-grade flesh body back then. Many strong people are only refined to top-grade, and the flesh body can be comparable to the innate treasure. Extreme, raising one's physical body to a supergrade level, not to mention how many treasures are needed. The hurdle of the divine body alone has stopped countless Dian immortals. The god-defying immortal, who can truly condense the physical body to the supergrade level, requires 10,000 times the divine body. Without 10,000 times the divine body, no matter how much resources are smashed, it will be useless. This is the ultimate physical body. After becoming an emperor, you can have an external incarnation, and there is no way to improve it, unless you reform it." Qiu Huang paused, not daring to say too much. He is still some distance away from the peak of the universe, knowing that although he is a little more than other emperors, it is limited to that point. 10,000 times. Jian Wushuang's interest just mentioned disappeared suddenly, but his expression condensed slightly when he heard the transformation. Can the emperor transform his body? This was the first time he had heard of it, but the distance was too far, and it flashed in his mind without thinking too much. "How about it? Do you still have the confidence to practice?" Qiu Huang deliberately stimulated. Jian Wushuang's expression regained his calmness and said faintly, "The younger generation's divine body is less than 2,000 times. The gap is too big. Haha, let me just say, this supergrade flesh body is not cultivated by humans. It is reserved for those god-defying evildoers." Unbelievable. Jian Wushuang wanted to say something. Am I not enough to guard against the sky? Rank 9 Dian Immortal is strong enough to be like this. The key is that his ascent space is very sufficient, especially the origin, which is now so strong, but there is too much room for improvement. You need to know that a lot of great immortals have already raised the origin Dao to the 9th level, and even the origin Dao is about to reach its peak combat power, or the special origin of the 2nd stage. After the completion, it will have the power of the Taoist. Chapter 52-53. Now because of the treasures of the Qishan Temple, the divine body and the physical body can be upgraded to a half-step emperor level. Just like the Wanqing Heavenly Emperor, although Jian Wushuang didn't know the origin of his cultivation, It was certain that it was definitely not the ultimate way. Without the ultimate way of cultivating, he now has the half-step Emperor's combat power. This is because the Emperor's unique learning allows him to have half a step of the Emperor's combat power, and his original path has been cultivated to the extreme. Is ranked at the top. The total ranking can be ranked 216. Ranking ahead of him are half-step emperors who practice the ultimate way. Just imagine how powerful he is. Now that she has been exposed to her absenteeism, her ranking will definitely rise again. Especially now that he has exchanged the imitation eternal treasure, his combat power may have touched the emperor level. Transcend those ultimate existences that have not practiced faculty. After all, Jeremy can give Dian Immortal a qualitative leap. He was originally the strongest among Tao sovereigns, and he has practiced jerk, coupled with imitation of the eternal treasure. This combat power is definitely a heaven-defying existence in the top 100. A heaven-defying Dian Immortal, who didn't master the ultimate, and didn't cultivate the origin of 10,000 Tao. His combat power was enough to disregard all the powerhouses of the second stage origin Tao. Wang Xingdou has reached the end, and one step is Hadao. He has also cultivated the genius. And in this respect, even the emperor of the outside world can't match it. There are very few things he can ascend, only a negligible physical body, or some other sideways. But Jian Wushuang is different, he can improve too much. Not to mention that he has cultivated to consummation. He doesn't have that confidence, but he still has a lot of confidence before he breaks through to the 6th level. Although the ultimate way can be combined at the 7th level. But with Jian Wushuang's current breakthrough speed, when he is combined, he can at least step into the 8th level, and even work hard to cultivate to the level of consummation. Only these two origins can make his strength reach an incredible level. Jian Wushuang himself can't imagine. The divine body was a bit short, but it was 10,000 times the height that ordinary people could not see. Once Jian Wushuang was also a special life, and he had only broadened his horizons when he entered Desiyu. It was not until the opening of the Qixin temple this time that he understood what a special life was. The darling of the origin of the universe is simply the pro-son of the primitive universe. Weaknesses are all 3 to 5,000 times the divine body, and the top one is the 10,000 times divine body. Surpassed everyone at birth. This Jian Wushuang was incomparable, he had nothing to say. But as long as the treasures given by the Temple of Qixin were not worse than this time, Wanbei dare not say that. 5,000 times he was still confident. In addition to these, if you don't say anything else, it's just fascinating. If there is no suitable faculty in the future, Jian Wushuang's wholeheartedly dedicated to cultivating the source Tao will be able to walk out a road that is beyond the reach of the sky. When he reaches the limit, he can cut the ninth rank Dian Immortal. In the limit of the great Yin Xian, raising everything to the limit, maybe you can achieve the feat of defeating the Emperor. This is something that has never happened in the original universe. But I don't know if there was such a day against the sky in ancient times. Senior, how strong is the great Yin Immortal in the ancient times? Jian Wushuang couldn't help asking. When Xiao Huang above heard these words, his face blushed. In ancient times he was not from the disciple of the gods. At that time, the god-defying Dian Immortals were disciples of the gods. He was really embarrassed to mention it, but he could only talk about himself back then. Then talk about me, old man. When I was a Taoist monarch, graciousness was what you called Dian Immortal. At that time, I could almost be able to fight the First Order Emperor without losing the wind. Xiao Huang was very proud. Said, compared with the little guys like Jian Wushuang, he is indeed very talented. Since he was a child, he was a direct descendant of a big family. Although he was stubborn, he was a waste of time before he was 100 years old. He was surrounded by a lot of eagles and dogs, so he didn't know how to practice. It wasn't until after being assassinated that he began to practice wholeheartedly. The assassination changed Xiao Huang's life. Although luckily survived, it was the first time he walked on the edge of life and death. From then on, inspirational cultivating immortals. After all, he is a direct descendant and has sufficient resources. His matrilineal family is also very powerful. Several uncles are all powerful emperors. And his mother is also an extremely powerful emperor. I don't know how to get him a supreme skeleton from there, making him a forged natural supreme. Only 1,000 years have allowed him to become a strong Yinxian. In ancient times, Yinxian was also named Xiaodaijin. Only when you become an immortal can you touch the source, and you can be regarded as a practitioner. Relying on inexhaustible use and hard work, Qiu Huang became a great master within 100,000, and has since stepped into the ranks of the strong. At that time, several daozi of the same age in the family were just Dayan immortals, not much better than him. Subsequent matrilineal family offended a terrifying strong man, and was destroyed overnight. Once again, he was inspired to become a super strong man, disregarding the past and the present. In this way, millions of years have elevated themselves to the limit, and broke through to become the emperor. And also a very strong fourth-order emperor. After becoming the emperor, his family did not help him so much. Moreover, their universe has been swept clean by several big families or sections. That kind of cannibalization is not comparable to those forces in the primitive universe. The current primitive universe, to be precise, even the emperor has not reached the peak, and the control of the major forces is also average. At least several epochs of reincarnation need to be developed to be as strong as the universe of the ancient times. Qiu Huang, who went to the long river of time and space, was also full of luck. Just after entering the long river of time and space, he encountered a great opportunity, and was later recruited into a certain big power, and was cultivated as a genius. It was only a matter of time to break through the 5th rank, and later this Qiu Huang city was obtained, and the combat power reached its peak. In the family, it is comparable to the existence of the clan leader. It is a pity that the forces where he was at the time were not very lucky, and they even dared to sneak attack on the forces where the gods were. The difference in strength between the two is not too big. The grassroots is okay, but there is a big gap among the top powers. In the end, the face is swept. The master of that power patted his buttocks and left. Qiu Huang and others were miserable. Fortunately, at that time, Qishan was building the temple of Qishan and needed manpower. So these people were thrown into the big world of temple of Qishan to build some treasures and treasures. Strange secrets. This waiting is countless epochs of reincarnation. Qiu Huang only stayed in that sword against the outside world. The old man was also a character back then, but his luck was not good. Otherwise, he could also take the 6th step. Qiu Huang said with emotion. The 6th step. That is the top powerhouse. Like the primitive universe now, the 4th-order emperor can walk sideways. If it were placed in the ancient era, the 4th-order emperor could barely count as a medium combat power. Chapter 52-54. The real top powerhouses are still those 6th-order emperors, or 5th-order emperors with special methods. Just like the old man with horns, although he only has the strength of Tier 5, he can cast a treasure that is only the eternal treasure. At that time, sitting down in the Qishan, he was also a big man, with a status comparable to a 6th-order emperor, and even the Lord of the Universe had to treat him courteously. Okay, it's almost done. You kid, hurry up and pick the treasure. Jian Wuxuang leaked a smile. Senior's story is really wonderful. The younger generation has been taught, and they understand that they need those treasures. Really? You are fancy that? Qiu Huang asked in doubt, and weighed the treasure in his hand. Looking at Jian Wuxuang curiously. Jinjing origin. Qiu Huang's face was shocked, a little confused, but he was still calm, did not ask, just nodded. Wood crystal origin. Now Qiu Huang can't sit still a little bit. There is no question about the origins of these heaven and earth. This kid doesn't buy the treasures he recommends, so why do you buy these? The origin of the fire crystal, and the origin of the earth crystal. Jian Wuxuang said all the 4 origins he needed in one breath. The origins of the four heavens and the earth. 400,000 treasures. Are you sure you want to exchange it? Qiu Huang asked incredulously. Jian Wushuang nodded firmly and replied, yes. He originally came from these four sources. And the reason why he talked with Qiu Huang for so long was to get a little more useful information. Qiu Huang also reacted at this time, only to realize that this kid had been playing tricks. But when he saw Jian Wushuang's breath change, he discovered the hidden secrets. Do you know about the beast god soldier? Qiu Huang asked incredulously. Oh, seniors are also interested in beast soldiers? Hee, it's more than just interest. Qiu Huang's face sank. His voice became serious, and he guessed. I'm asking you if the old horned man in the Supreme Treasure Hall asked you to come here to redeem these four origins. Senior knows this. Jian Wushuang seemed to smell a bad feeling from his words. That's right. Qiu Huang took a breath, put a smile on his face again, and then said, boy, I can tell you clearly that you are fooled. You were deceived by the old Yang Sanmu. He asked you to exchange these four origins, just to let you find him to refine the treasure. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly, a little puzzled by Qiu Huang's meaning. He knew that the old man with horns was a divine envoy who specializes in refining treasures. Without his affirmation, he would really not dare to spend so many precious points to exchange these heaven and earth origins. Now that he was cheated, what do you mean? Don't have an expression that you don't understand. The old man tells you clearly that the accessories of your two beasts cannot be integrated at all. If they can be combined, do you think it is important for you to be a Dian or the beasts? Jian Wushuang was stunned by Qiu Huang's words. Yes. What level of treasure is that beast god soldier? First of all, Jian Wushuang is a powerful secret treasure that is certain that it is likely to exceed the eternal treasure. If it were such a powerful treasure, how could it be exchanged for these Dian immortals? Is there any hidden secrets? Jian Wushuang was also a little confused, and he blurted out a very thoughtless sentence. Will the temple of Qishan plot my candle dragon eye? Puff. Qiu Huang, who was sitting above, almost laughed. Ha ha ha, are you going to laugh at the old man? The temple of Qishan is plotting you a treasure from Dian Immortal. Ha ha ha. This is the best joke I have heard so far. Maybe I will never hear it again in my life. A joke that is more funny than this. Jian Wushuang was confused. Qiu Huang suppressed his smile and explained. Little guy, first of all, I can assure you that the temple of Qishan will never deceive your treasure. Don't worry about that. At most, the three eyes of the sheep will cheat you. I know that Candle Dragon Wing is indeed a beast soldier, but the beast soldier has its own origin. Now the Candle Dragon has long been broken, and the origin has long since disappeared. How do the beasts and warriors of the Candle Dragon origin fuse? Qiu Huang continued. You don't think that by virtue of the five heavens and the earth, you can merge the beasts and gods. The former beasts and gods contain a complete spatial origin. Also, do you know who made this beast weapon? In addition to shock, Jian Wushuang's expression was shocked. First of all, he was surprised that the beasts were stronger than he had imagined, the source of the complete space. The emperor can't grasp it. It is the origin of space comparable to the origin of the universe. Is there a space source comparable to the universe in a secret treasure? It made him dare not even think about it. If the beast god weapon were so powerful, the Qishan temple would really not be open to them Dian Immortal. But I heard Qiu Huang explain that the origin has already collapsed. And even if the five sources of heaven and earth are collected, they cannot be integrated at all. These five heaven and earth origins are all in one strand, and none of them are complete. Even if it is complete, it can't merge with each other into a real spatial origin. Jian Wushuang, who knows everything repeatedly, looks like ashes. The old man with horns looks pretty reliable. How could you cheat him? Jian Wushuang continued to ask. I hope seniors can answer. He wanted to hear how exactly this beast warrior was refined, so that the heart is dead. Anyway, the original source has not yet been obtained, and it is a big deal that he will not exchange it again. Qiu Huang saw Jian Wushuang's interest aroused and said again. Speaking it out will also change your understanding of Qishan, and let you understand what the Star Overlord is. You should know that the beast weapon is refined by the body of the natural beast god. What you don't know is that the body is just the beast weapon you see. There are some things that you can't use the beast weapon. Not only does it contain the complete origin of the space, but there is also the consciousness of the beast in the beast gods. And the weak ones can't control it at all. Jian Wushuang was shocked. Beast consciousness. When he fully displayed the candle dragon realm, could that candle dragon be transformed by the candle dragon's consciousness? At first he felt that he had completely inspired the candle dragon realm. It turns out that the ghost of the candle dragon is a manifestation of consciousness knowing the truth. The back is instantly startled with cold sweat. Qiu Huang continued. What kind of kid? Now I know how difficult it is to merge. Even if you have collected all 5 sources, you may not be able to condense a strand of spatial origin, let alone the consciousness of the beast god. Back then, the gods of the gods killed the 8 beast gods in the long river of time and space, destroyed the kingdoms of the gods, and even skinned them into cramps and refined them into the gods of beasts. This is a masterpiece of the gods. You want to make it tier 5, it's just a wishful thinking that the god-forging messenger will merge with the beasts and gods to you. Indeed, as Qiu Huang said, Qishan was the overlord back then. How could a secret treasure created by an overlord be able to be reproduced by a small god-forging messenger? Dear, click in. Give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that the new full marks are found at the end of The Beautiful Wife. The new revision and upgrade address of the mobile station. Data and bookmarks are synchronized with the computer station, and fresh reading without ads. Chapter 52-55. Don't be too disappointed. That old guy was fooled by the identity of the messenger of the gods. He tried to refine the eternal treasure every day, and finally made some imitations. Now he is wishing to recreate the beast warrior. This joke is not funny. Qiu Huang looked at Jian Wushuang's face, and tried to comfort him. But Jian Wushuang didn't think so. The old chauffeur man is not as unbearable as Qiu Huang said. He didn't know whether there was the consciousness of a beast on the candle dragon's wings. Maybe Qiu Huang knew it, or the big man named Zhu knew it. Jian Wushuang guessed that these Dian immortals could not be thrown to them, because they really had the consciousness of beast gods, so the emperor should not let them fully understand. If there is some enlightenment from the above, maybe the origin of space will break through. It is a waste of such treasure to give them these Dian immortals. If it doesn't, it makes sense. One piece can only increase the speed. It is really useful for him, such as the Dian immortal, who has not yet been recognized by the origin of the space. The usefulness to the emperor is only to increase the speed. There is almost no big gap. If defined in this way, then it is correct, otherwise it is impossible to give them these Dian immortals. However, in his candle dragon's eyes, there was the consciousness of the beast god. This was something he had clearly determined. Qiu Huang didn't know and couldn't see this. But the old man with the horns, who is the messenger of the gods, can see it. He saw the difference between the eye of the candle dragon and the wing of the candle dragon, and he dared to open his mouth to help him fuse, asking him to collect 5 heaven and earth origins in order to fuse a ray of space origin. Qiu Huang was right about this. How about it? Are you going to exchange it now? Qiu Huang asked without a hassle with his legs folded. After his painstaking explanation, he decided that Jian Wushuang would not exchange it. It's a pity that he was disappointed this time. Jian Wushuang bowed slightly, his complexion restored. Senior Qiu Huang, thank you for your guidance. His words were very respectful, which came from the heart. No matter how he fooled him before, saying so much this time really made him receive a lot of goods, and made him believe in the old man with horns even more. At least he knew how obsessed the old horned man was with secret treasures. Because of this, he would help him wholeheartedly to fuse beasts and magic weapons. Although this thing is crazy, but the others are crazy, he has any excuse not to follow the madness, but it is only 400,000 treasure points. And he is betting. The last crystal origin, the 11th wave of devouring demon, attacked him with confidence to hold, and he had the confidence to take all the 5 origins. Slowly straightening up, Jian Wushuang looked at Qiu Huang with respect. Just want to understand. Qiu Huang smiled lightly. As a result, Jian Wushuang said astonishingly, the younger generation is determined. Jianwu's bilingualism is firm and unwavering. It's better to redeem the origins of the four heavens and earth. Since Senior Yang dared to fight, the juniors have no reason not to fight. Qiu Huang's expression changed. He was about to get angry, but he seemed to have thought of something. And finally he didn't say anything. Great! Swish swish. The origin of the four worlds and the token all flew towards Jian Wushuang. Thanks, Senior. Jian Wushuang carefully collected these origins into the world of Sumi, and thanked him respectfully again. Qiu Huang recalled the past and said with emotion, I really don't understand you people, who was like you back then, but he gambled more than you. Determination. This is something he has never understood. When he was weak, the determination he always felt was to practice wholeheartedly. He obviously did it, but when he saw other practitioners, he couldn't understand their determination. Is determination really to give up oneself and stick to the Tao? Jian Wushuang watched Qiu Huang fall into deep thought, and he didn't know whether to leave directly or to interrupt him to say goodbye. Fortunately, Qiu Huang was just stunned for a while, and finally he sighed again and asked him a question that surprised him. Boy, you are taking the ultimate kendo. Why don't you see that you have a powerful saber? Saber? This time I changed to Jian Wushuang and lamented. He wants to have it too, but so far I haven't met a suitable one. And even if I exchanged it, I still have no intention of raising a sword. Returning to the seniors, the juniors have not yet encountered a suitable divine sword, and their strength is rising again, and they have no intention of raising the sword. Jian Wushuang replied truthfully. Qiu Huang's thoughts moved, and then he said, That's right. Then you have to work hard, but you are favored by a big man, and you will have something with a sword. There is no need to rush to exchange it. The Qishan temple is not as rigid as you thought. Oh, Jian Wushuang was surprised. Not so rigid? Is there another big man who fancy him? Could it be that he, like Hui Qing, was bestowed by Qishan temple? Jian Wushuang became excited when he thought of this. Qiu Huang also saw it, and immediately poured him a basin of cold water. Of course, don't think too well. Everything needs a corresponding price. Try to resist until the end. You will know it then. Jian Wushuang didn't say much after enlightenment, and quickly bid farewell to retreat. The price, the last of resistance. It seems that the price is really not small, and the last 19th wave that needs to be resisted. He had confidence in the 11 waves. And of course he had to look at the level of the devouring demon, lord of the undisclosed 10 waves, before he dared to make up his mind. If the span is too large, forget it. A saber is not worth it. The ultimate kendo. Don't be afraid if you don't have a sword in your hand. Just have a sword in your heart. As soon as they left the palace, they saw Hui Qing and Ji Chaoyang in the main hall of the city lord's mansion, talking with Daojun Lingshuang. After seeing Jian Wushuang, he waved quickly. Brother Wushuang, you are too tough. You can actually suppress the tearing sky, making me the 6th. Ji Chaoyang, as always, has no demeanor, pulling Jian Wushuang bluntly and talking about them. The battle of the city wall. On the side, Hui Qing made up some of the things that were missed. What Jian Wushuang didn't expect was that these two people became living bodhisattvas on the north wall. Starting from the 5th wave, it was the two of them who resisted the devouring demon lord. First killed a large number, and then let those weaker Dayan immortals go into battle. This is naturally great for those who are weak, but for those who are strong, it is a great evil. This kind of story of sheep and wolves. Doesn't Hui Qing know that Ji Chaoyang is not afraid of riots? But seeing Ji Chaoyang's excited look, calm Jian Wushuang couldn't help dispelling his fighting spirit. So he said something perfunctory. When he saw Taoist Lingshuang, Jian Wushuang greeted him politely. Looking closely now, it really looks a bit like the old man. It's just that since he realized his mental strength, his heart seems to have died too. And he has looked down on everything he used to. Perhaps the seeds of the strong have blossomed and bear fruit. Or perhaps they simply forgot. Daojun Lingshuang's voice was crisp, and he said, How about it, get such a treasure, exchange those treasures. Ji Chaoyang on the side also said, Yes, brother Wushuang, What treasures have you exchanged for? This time I exchanged my full worth for a space treasure. I am afraid it will not take long to break through. Dear, click in. Give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that the new full marks are found at the end of the beautiful wife. The new revision and upgrade address of the mobile station. Data and bookmarks are synchronized with the computer station, and fresh reading without ads. Chapter 52-56. He winked his eyebrows for a while. The breakthrough he was talking about was probably the 9th revolution consummation, and Jian Wushuang knew it at a glance. It was that the strange treasure of space fell into his hands, and made Jian Wushuang a little surprised. He originally thought it was Daojun Blood Moon who had exchanged it. After all, Daojun Blood Moon had a deep understanding of the origin of space, and he was not far from admitting it can't be too far. If you get this spatial treasure, you might be able to break through. This is the cube of the universe. If it weren't for the candle dragon wings, Jian Wushuang's first choice would be it. I didn't exchange any special treasures, I just exchanged an ancient secret treasure, Jian Wushuang said casually. Hui Qing's expression moved, and she couldn't help but say, Brother Wushuang, could it be that I exchanged the wings of that candle dragon? Yes, that's the treasure, Jian Wushuang admitted generously. There are only a few top treasures, and the top ones are also these people. You can't hide it, so it's better to say it generously. As soon as these words came out, all three people present showed a look of local tyrants. It was Hui Qing who was honest, and told the truth directly. Brother Wushuang, the old croissant said that this treasure is not so valuable, and is not suitable as the first choice. Lord Lung Shuang also said, That old man, I did say so. I also feel that the treasure has improved us too little, and the speed does not represent anything. The blood moon is an example. I really want to fight head-on. The strength is average, not much better than tearing the sky. Could it be that Brother Wushuang discovered the special feature of that treasure? Ji Chaoyang still has a lot of thoughts, and he immediately sees the key to the problem. As he thought, there was indeed something special, but I couldn't say more about it, and ended the topic politely. Ji Chaoyang also saw Jian Wushuang's intentions, and quickly broke the topic, and talked about the 10,000-star Heavenly Emperor. Then it's certain now, the Bafang Yunlong seal was exchanged by Wanqing. A few people talked about it with one word. After all, this is the strongest treasure in the treasury, and Wanqing faintly, as the first person of this primitive star, now has such a treasure. The strength has definitely undergone a qualitative change. It can be regarded as a complete demarcation with them. His strength can't be seen now. I hope I won't encounter him in the future. Daojun Lung Shuang looked helpless. As a female Taoist, her ascension has reached the limit. If you want to have half a step of the Emperor's combat power, you can only hope that the inheritance of the first class is strong enough. Otherwise, there will be no chance at all. Ji Chaoyang doesn't matter. He has achieved half a step of the Emperor's combat power when he breaks through the 9th round of consummation, and coupled with his fascinating knowledge and treasures, he is really imaginary. As for Hui Qing, this is indisputable nature, and it doesn't matter to these things. Only Jian Wushuang knew about him. Although not missing the edge, Jian Wushuang can feel that Hui Qingqiang is better than the former Wanqing, and can also match the current Wanqing. This hasn't broken through the 9th revolution to consummation. All three of them broke through rank 9 to consummation, except for Ji Chaoyang. Both he and Hui Qing were able to surpass the 10,000-star Heavenly Emperor. After chatting for a while, sharing some thoughts, a few people broke up. The horn of the 7th wave of attack will sound soon. Now in the City Lord's mansion, there are still thousands of people, the 9th ranked Dian Immortal. They had completely bid farewell to the Temple of Difference, and could only wait for the 30-year deadline to come, and return to the original universe. The only benefit that can be regained now is that the comfortable cultivation environment in the City Lord's mansion is stronger than the original universe. But it is not a level. Among these people, there are still a few unlucky rank 9 perfect powerhouses. Even if they get the treasure, they haven't been able to raise their combat power to the top level, so they can only retire with hatred. This is also the best destination. There are also tens of thousands of rank 9 Dian immortals, but they have fallen into the hands of devouring demon lord. There are also millions of Dian immortals who have fallen into the first stage of the trial, and they have not even survived the second stage. Now that they can retire alive, they are better than many. Step away from the city lord's mansion and return to the city head. Jian Wushuang, who had just appeared, attracted the attention of Tier Heaven. He got the candle dragon wings first. Dao Xiaotian said unwillingly in his heart, "That breath is stronger than before." He clenched his fists and was extremely uncomfortable with tearing the sky. Obviously it was his chance, and he blamed Mo Long for this waste. It should have been a little bit more brutal at the beginning, and all the strength exploded to kill Mo Long, and there would not be so many things behind. Just one thought, this situation is now falling. Jian Wushuang stood on the head of the city, turned his head and looked at the tier sky. A smile leaked from the corner of his mouth, and the greedy look in his eyes made no secret of it. He just wanted to tell Tier Heaven that I also saw the treasure on your body, and I will take it back sooner or later. Humph! He let out a cold snort and diverted his eyes. Jian Wushuang secretly said in his heart, "You can't rely on the Temple of Qishan. If there is no internal fighting behind, that treasure will never be obtained. You have to find a way." In the War of Qiu Huangqing, all Dian immortals are comrades in arms, and they are not allowed to fight without authorization. Anyone who violates the order is dead. Even if it was an ordinary conflict, there might be a big punishment. Jian Wushuang didn't dare to take this risk. Only in the last few waves, I took advantage of my strength. It would be better if Torn Sky were slaughtered by those devouring demon lords. Just thinking of this, the buzzing of the horn rang. Samsung's devouring demon has been waiting for a long time. The devouring demon lord, comparable to the top Dian immortal, is still the same, starting with 100,000. There are now more than 80,000 people on the city's head, all with top combat power, and thousands of peak combat power. After these few times, the overall strength has risen a lot. There should be no problem with this 7th wave. The key is the next 2 waves. At that time, these people will not know how much they will survive. Jian Wushuang calmed down, the horn fell, and his figure flashed into the battlefield. At the same time, the 7th wave of battles on all primitive stars also started. In the deepest part of the primitive world, the Vermilion Bird Palace was extremely lively. Hundreds of figures gathered in the Suzuka Hall, where no individual shadows are usually seen. They sat next to the case, watching the battle in the sky below, with a sense of taste. Haha, it's really great. I don't know how many years I have been in a deep sleep. When I drank again, I thought I was not awake. An old man covered in scales drinking alcohol and watching the sky. The battle in China is so uncomfortable. The other people on the side laughed and said, "Qiu Huang, you'll be cool just by drinking, and you won't have to wait on you soon." Everyone laughed. Zhu Yi, who was sitting on the main seat, frowned again and again. She still doesn't understand until now. Why revive these old guys who are about to fall into the ground? True Spirit thinks that there are too many sources in the sea of sources, or feel that she really needs the help of these old-fashioned people. These people are now left with a skin bag, and after the physical body has been transformed, they have become like this, and they have no combat power at all. Regardless of how strong they were before they were alive, they are at best the combat power of a second-order emperor. Dear, click in, give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that the new full marks are found at the end of the beautiful wife. The new revision and upgrade address of the mobile station. Data and bookmarks are synchronized with the computer station, and fresh reading without ads. Chapter 52-57, Suzuka Hall. Hundreds of veteran strong men have revived. Although they are only doing some things to raise the younger generation, the breath of the strong men has not yet dissipated. These people are all seniors in front of Zhu Yi. Even she didn't have much to say. She could only smile awkwardly in the main position. Hall Master Zhu Yi, I heard that one of the primordial stars of Jiajiu. There is a Dian immortal who has been favored by Lord True Spirit. I don't know the true or false. The one who spoke was a gray-haired old man with horns, exuding an ancient aura. Everyone shuddered unconsciously when they heard the word Jinling. Although he has just recovered, but I have heard from those old bacons that this true spirit lord has a weird temper and is extremely domineering. Even the 4 core halls left by Qixin, the true spirit did not pay attention to it at all. The highest trial is also arbitrary. In the tomb of the gods, the rebels are harassing. Regardless of it, the true spirit insisted on reorganizing the 4 secret realms, making a big mess. People like them will listen to these things. After all, they are not the core line of the gods. In ancient times, they were nothing more than the coolies that were plundered by the gods. However, the gods promised them at that time, and they will be regarded as the temple of the gods in the future. Senior veteran. Now these elders have been fished out by the true spirit from the sea of origin of the Qixin temple. People like them have a lot of questions to ask, but after hearing the true spirit's weird temper, they dare not ask more. Now on such occasions, they only dared to ask the first seat of the Vermilion Bird Palace. Zhu Yi, who was sitting above, raised his brow. Qiqiao Linglongsen turned slightly, and the smile on his face was put away, putting on a serious expression and scanning the group of elders below. Dissatisfied with seniors, there is indeed such a person. For this person, Master Jinling did not hesitate to start the second phase of the trial in advance, and also changed the rules set by the gods. This can be changed. The old chauffeur man was meditating, and the many strong men were only a little surprised, and did not dare to guess. Even the rules set by the gods dare to change. This true spirit is really extraordinary. At least the sky is about to change now, although the gods promised them. But now the gods have already fallen. The entire Qixin temple, now the real spirit has the final say. This point, they can now be regarded as confirmed. And their recovery is also related to that true spirit. The true spirit went to the 4 secret realms and released them by taking advantage of the second phase of the trial. Haha, the Dian Immortal who can be regarded by Master True Spirit. Then I will have to take a closer look. Seeing that the scene was a little cold, someone took the initiative to mention the Dian Immortal, who was chosen by the True Spirit. It's all for the purpose of changing the subject, being able to be favored by the real spirit, and even changing the previous rules. They really want to see who this person is. Jiajiu Primitive Star. Could it be the 10,000 star Emperor Qiu Huang fancied? At this moment, Qiu Huang was sitting at the end. His small eyes narrowed over the many elders above him, and his figure was inconspicuous. Hearing someone mention his name, his body shook, and he quickly got up and explained. The strength of Wanqing is indeed good. He is not the ultimate way, but he has cultivated a special kind of skill, and his combat power is half the emperor, and he has also exchanged it. The imitation of the eternal treasure. The strength can be comparable to the emperor. Hearing that the emperor was comparable to the emperor, everyone took a breath of cold breath. Compared to the emperor, or the second rank origin, this son is expected to take the 6th step. Many people also nodded. Although there are few Dian Immortals comparable to emperors on primitive stars today, there is no Dian Immortal that can make these people particularly concerned. Qiu Huang said that the second rank origin is comparable to the emperor, and they are still a little surprised. The second rank origin has a half-step emperor's combat power, which is still normal, and it is rare to be able to be comparable to the second rank origin of the emperor. The eternal treasure of imitation is not something that can be improved so much for anyone. It is very rare to be able to use that side's 8 Feng Yunlong seal of the second rank original source. There should be quite a lot of connection between this and that special faculty. Just when everyone couldn't help looking at the 10,000 star heavenly emperor in the sky, Qiu Huang spoke again. However, I am not optimistic about this one. He is indeed very powerful, but there is still one person who can compete with him on the Aju primitive star. There is someone else. Could it be the kid named Jian Wuxia? I heard that he has a crippled beast soldier. Qiu Huang leaked his joy and said, "It is this son, and he is still the 9th rank Dian Immortal, and he has not reached the 9th rank consummation." Now he has half the power of the emperor. I think that from the eyes of Master True Spirit, he should be optimistic. The old man Yang Jiao nodded and said, I agree with Brother Qiu Huang. Zhu Yi, who was sitting above the main hall, never spoke, just watching the changes. Originally thought that Dingjiu primordial star was strong enough, and several half-step emperors suddenly appeared. I didn't expect Jiajiu primitive star crouching tiger, hidden dragon. Yeah, there are not only the Dian immortal whom the true spirit masters fancy, but also a few peerless Tianjiao. I think the little monk, named Huiqing, is also good. This son is extremely low-key, and the Taoist heart is indestructible. He is a good seed. Because of the true spirit, many veterans are looking at the Jiajiu primordial star in the sky. Look, this 8th wave of siege is a small threshold. Millions of 3-star devourers, the little guy is in trouble. Everyone looked down the sky, and it was Qiu Huang's city of Jiajiu primitive star. The horn hummed. Millions of 3-star swallowing demons were waiting in a serious array. As soon as the horn sounded, they rushed out of the black fog and rushed towards the north gate of Qiu Huang city. Guarding this place are Huiqing and Ji Chaoyang. Ji Chaoyang now has the power of Daojun, standing side by side with Huiqing at the forefront. This time, no one was going to hate the two of them. Millions of 3 stars swallowed the devil, and the arrogance was unstoppable. The half-walking monarchs all retreated to the city wall, and the wave flooded them, leaving them all buried in them. Haha, millions of devouring demon lords are all 3 stars happy. Ji Chaoyang has some peaks, and his stature is extremely tough, standing on the front line. As soon as the devouring demon lord struck, the two turned into a stream of light, and instantly rushed into the army of millions. This is the power of space. An entire diamond-shaped space rose up, and Ji Chaoyang's hair was messy. In his space, he seemed to be the unshakable demon god. Huiqing, as always, took off the long silver sticks and turned them into 1,000,000 li long. One person shook the pace of 1,000,000 3-star swallowing the devil, making them unable to move forward. Hiss! In the Suzuka Palace, the veterans were dumbfounded. The performance of the 4 walls is almost perfect except for the almost meaning of cold shuang and blood moon. Especially the 10,000-star heavenly emperor, who has taken charge of the 8 Fong Yunlong seal. The Dian immortal who dared to take this name was really extraordinary. On the wall of his city, he was incarnate as a god of 10,000 warriors, dressed in a pale silver-patterned robe, and there was an emperor's might in every gesture. Chapter 52-58. Hold the seal of the gods and hold all directions. A tens of millions of mile-sized mountain fell directly and smashed into the 1,000,000 devouring demon lord, and one person withstood the 1,000,000 3-star devouring demon lord. And he was very casual. Even his unique knowledge was not revealed. This son actually concealed his strength, and he has the power of the emperor if he doesn't use his faculty. It's amazing. The Tao monarchs in the 4 secrets are just like that. And it's comparable to those native Taoists. Zhu Yi also nodded in satisfaction. The future of these Dian immortals will be under her control, and they will not be considered as leaving the Vermilion Bird Palace until after the success of the combination. True Spirit has optimistic people, and she naturally also has optimistic people. Wanqing is one of them. In the Temple of Qishan, it is not difficult to be in harmony. At the beginning, only a part of the Xuanwu Temple could allow Lu Crow and Dao Gong to become emperors by swallowing them together. And it is still possible now. As long as Wanqing Hadao succeeds, one can definitely dominate one of the 4 secret realms. Even if you leave the Vermilion Bird Palace, as long as you remember her goodness, you will have a good impression of the Vermilion Bird Palace in the future. This is the candidate for the 6th Order Emperor in the future, Zhu Yi silently noted, and then he was considering the distribution of the treasures. And look at the 10,000-star Emperor. There is still lack in that aspect. She can prescribe the right medicine. Since the True Spirit brought these people back from the 4 secret realms, he has also been added to the trial, making the originally hasty 2nd stage trial even more chaotic. Especially the distribution of treasures can be changed at will. Just now, Qiu Huang and Yang Sanmu were in front of her to discuss the first wave of the treasure and bestow it on Jian Wushuang. These two people are optimistic about Jian Wushuang. In the future, after they settled in the 4 secret realms, there is a high probability that they will be reused. The true spirit no longer believes in the people of the core 4 halls, or does not recognize the puppets refined by the gods back then. Your own people are now being divided by these old guys. Although they are unwilling, they can't say anything on the surface. After all, they are really people who fished out. Jian Wushuang is also over here, and his way is very suitable for this kind of trial. The third eye of the sheep's third eye flickered and dimmed, exuding a touch of power. Outside the east city wall, on the back of Jian Wushuang, a pair of jet black and scarlet wings spread out, and his figure was like lightning shuttled among a million devouring demon kings. The fierce candle dragon wings completely cut the battlefield. Scarlet's third eye was always exuding scarlet color, and the beast god realm was stimulated to the extreme. Rushing in the devouring demon lord, Jian Wushuang's figure is like Shura. Here is his Shura field, and those devouring demon lord are like the little ghosts in purgatory. Jian Wushuang is impermanent. The few devouring demon lord who rushed out were also beheaded by the crowd guarding on the city wall. The heaven-tearing Dao monarch knew that he was unable to compete with Jian Wushuang. He was afraid that Jian Wushuang would calculate when he was out of the city. Tens of thousands of Dayan immortals guarded the city wall together. Chi. Thousands of devouring demon lords rushed up the city wall, and a pinnacle Dayan immortal was seriously injured and quickly retreated. Looking at the evil and ugly devouring demon lord, this peak powerhouse was almost desperate. At this moment, Dao Suver's claw broke through the sky, cut through the sky, and instantly killed thousands of devouring sovereigns, and his figure fell in front of the peak Dayan immortal. Looking at the stalwart figure, the pinnacle Dayan immortal knelt down and saluted. More Dao monarchs will help. Torn Tian turned his head slightly. Only half of his face leaked out. A smile leaked from the corner of his mouth, and said lightly, "It's all my own. Don't thank me. Go to the back and recover the body." "Yes," Dianfeng Dayan immortal said excitedly. Tearing the sky left here, and once again went to the other hole where the devouring demon rushed away. These small groups of 3 stars devouring demon lord can't threaten him at all, and can slaughter him at will. But those pinnacle Dayan immortals are a bit unable to withstand it. Even if there are hundreds of devouring demon lords, they are very difficult to stop. Jian Wushuang stopped almost 600,000 3-star devouring demon lord. Only 400,000 devouring demon lord attacked Dayan immortal on the city wall. In addition, dozens of extreme Dayan immortals and those half-walking monarchs blocked almost the same level, and the remaining 200,000 could reach the city wall. Tens of thousands of top-level Dayan immortals, coupled with the peak Dayan immortal of more than 1,000 people, could not even stop 200,000 devouring demon lords. In the 9th wave, tens of millions of 3-stars swallowed the devil. Even if Jian Wushuang could block 6 million, who would block the remaining 4 million? Now the peak Dayan immortal has begun to fall, and the next time it will fall is the limit Dayan immortal, and those half-walking monarchs. Tens of millions of Samsung swallowed the demon lord. Even if it was tearing the sky, there was not much confidence to resist, and Jian Wushuang could resist it alone. With Jian Wushuang's massacre, millions of 3-stars swallowed the demon lord, and the more they killed, the less. Also kill one by one. Call. Jian Wushuang put away the candle dragon wings behind him, and after taking a sigh of relief, he stood on the city wall, looking at the corpses of the Dayan immortal that had been devastated by the devouring demon lord, with some regret in his heart. 100,000 Dayan immortals. First, rank 9 was eliminated early, leaving more than 80,000. Then in the 7th wave, many top Dayan immortals died. Of course, in the 7th wave, only 100,000 3-stars swallowed the devil. Jian Wushuang left them only 3 or 4. Just like that, there are still people who fall. This time it was even more exaggerated, and nearly 10,000 people fell directly. These people are all Dayan immortals who have been promoted to the top level by relying on the supreme treasure, And even the peak Dian immortal has also fallen to several places. These people now are framed here. Dilemma. Retire, not reconciled. Only in this wave, they have obtained hundreds or even thousands of treasures. Especially those extreme Dian immortals, who have obtained tens of thousands of treasure points. They will naturally not retreat. Even if there is a crisis of fall, they will fight hard. Oh, let's go. He was already average in combat power, but now he is wounded again. A lonely top Dian fairy turned his head and glanced at the broken earth outside the city wall. This is the last time he has seen Primordial Star. There is no chance. After passing through the barrier, he has reached the city lord's mansion. At the same time, many top Daexians chose to retire. For a time, the number of people on the top of the city was reduced by half. Only less than 40,000 people are left. Some people are weak and choose to retire. Some people break through and choose to stay. The most precious points obtained in the last wave. The weaker Dian immortal chose to spend all of them, staying if they break through, and retiring if they don't break through. On the edge of the city wall, 6 people sat cross-legged in one place, men and women. The 4th child let the 6th sister go. The headed boss had sadness in his eyes. Big brother. There were tears in the 4th eye. Let's go. The 3rd sister has fallen, and I don't want anyone to fall again. Without peak combat power, I will stay dead forever. There were originally 9 of them, all from the same big world, but they were just different sections. Dear, click in. Give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that the new full marks are found at the end of the beautiful wife. The new revision and upgrade address of the mobile station. Data and bookmarks are synchronized with the computer station, and fresh reading without ads. Chapter 52-59. Since entering the primitive world, he became a brother. In the first stage of the melee, none of them fell. Now in the second stage, 3 of them have fallen. After the 9th wave, I really don't know how many people will survive. 4th brother listened to eldest brother. The 6th ranked woman had a gentle expression in her eyes. The 4th child was a little unwilling, but he didn't know how to refute it. Finally, he took the treasure in Lumai's hand and bowed his head in silence. They once swore that once they retired, they would leave all their treasures to the people on the wall. The 5 people left now have peak combat power, and only the 6th is the weakest. According to the rules, she had to retire and actively contribute her treasures. This scene was staged in many teams. Quickly, those who have not retired and are ready to continue fighting, come here to gather quickly. A half-walker in the general position, standing on the head of the city, shouted loudly. The 10 generals, each responsible for a lot, began to check the number of people, preparing for the 9th wave. Jian Wuxia looked at all this. This is the weak sorrow. He is powerful. And those people resented him for grabbing the treasure in the early stage. But now they are grateful that he can block the devouring demon lord, and give them a chance to breathe. He was accustomed to all this. Since the 7th wave, everyone on the wall has been in order. And the position seems to be really useful. Except for Jian Wuxia the coach. Tearing the sky became the backbone of the city wall. And the other 4 leaders also listened to him. Report to Daojun. The 10 generals have been counted. A Extreme Daexian respectfully reported. Divine Emperor Imolong was also among them. The section of the city wall under his jurisdiction had 3,000 top-level Dian immortals, more than 200 peak-level Dian immortals, and 7 or 8 extreme Dian immortals, all of which were about the same as his strength. But they are all newly promoted powerhouses. The number of other generals was similar, and Tearing Sky quickly grasped the remaining Dian immortal. He rose to the sky and began to mobilize before the war. The high fighting spirit also drove everyone. Even Jian Wuxia couldn't help but look up at the Tearing Sky in the sky. Everyone, this is the 9th siege now. I know that this is the last chance for many people. I also understand your difficulties, but since you choose to stay, you have to obey the command. It's not too late to retire now. Don't blame me for not reminding you. When the devouring demon comes in, you all have to go up. If anyone is timid, I promised to throw him into the devouring army personally as fodder. The voice of Taoist Tier Heaven echoed in the sky. Many people who were swayed have strengthened their determination. They've seen the heaven-tearing heavenly immortal carrying several cowardly Dian immortals thrown into the swallowing army, and instantly turned into a blood mist. Not even a trace of the origin path is left, as if the whole person does not exist at all, and they can't die again. This is also the reason why they dare to fight to the death. If you don't fight, you will die, and you can get the most precious points in the fight. The mobilization is over soon, and there is almost a stick of incense for these people to calm down, and the 9th wave will come soon. Tear the Sky fell from the sky. This time he took the initiative to find Jian Wushuang, with a low posture. Leader Ter Tian, I have seen the head coach. Ter Tian folded his left arm and bowed slightly. Jian Wushuang didn't expect that he would come out like this. Looking around, he knew that this person had no good intentions. Brother Ter Heaven, I've said it. No need for such a big gift. I will do my best to stop those devouring demon lord later. He has never used it since cultivating the absolute immortal formation. This time in the 9th wave, he is going to use the entire battlefield as the core of the formation to practice his hands with these devouring demon lords. Although there is some meaning to kill chickens with a sledgehammer, but after this time, there will be no treasures. Of course, he has to seize this opportunity. According to the information learned from Qiu Huang, after the 9th wave, every time you guard, you will get treasures, and the most precious treasures are likely to be cancelled. Of course he has to be sure. Tier Heaven's face was heavy. No matter what Jian Wushuang said, he bowed again, and said respectfully, 34,076 fellow Taoists of Tier Heaven, Brother Xie Wushuang. This voice is not loud, just so that everyone can hear it. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly. He clearly felt that this man was not well-intentioned, so how could he sell his? I originally thought that Tearing the Sky would use these people to give him some eye drops, but I didn't expect it. Started to kill him. If you can't stop it, you're not a sinner. The word still cannot be too full. Jian Wushuang's heart moved, his voice pressed very low, and he said faintly, Brother Ter Heaven, I don't care what your intentions are. It is my thing I will eventually get. Even if it runs to the end of the world, I am determined to get that thing. If I get it now, I can take out half of the treasure points to exchange. There is really no chance when it is too late. Tear the Sky and laughed, pretending to be unknown. But he knew Jian Wushuang's intentions in his heart, which was threatening him. He also tried to ask, I don't know if it is half of the present or half of the future. Half of the treasures. He was really tempted. Jian Wushuang's current treasure point, according to his guess, should be only more than 1 million. He only knew that Jian Wushuang had spent 800,000 in exchange for Candle Dragon wings. If he hadn't exchanged for other treasures, there would have been millions. In the current half, he is not very vocal. In the 9th wave, he has the ability to make millions. After the 9th wave, if Jian Wushuang was willing to exchange half of the treasure points, he would be really tempted. But it is only limited to the fascination with the treasures. Jian Wushuang saw his thoughts. His voice tactfully said, You can treat it as after the 9th wave. There are not many treasures on his body right now, and even if he took them all out, he wouldn't even have a look at it. But after the 9th wave, he had at least 6 or 7 million arrogance points on his body, and half of that time was at least 3 million arrogance points. Although there are no imitation eternal treasures in the current treasure house, they can be exchanged for those emperor elixir medicines, or the heavenly materials and earth treasures that are useful to their own origin, and a lot of them can be exchanged. There are still a few pieces of the best innate treasures. The price is about 700,000 to 800,000 yuan, and they are about to be exchanged for a set. These treasures make the Third Order Emperor, www.novel.com, and even the Fourth Order Emperor very tempted. If you are afraid of the Emperor's prying eyes, you can also exchange for heavenly materials and earth treasures to strengthen yourself. The first-class physical body is perfect, and it can't spend 3 million treasure points. And it can also increase his divine body, by the way. This is an instant improvement method. Tear Heaven Daijin's eyes turned, and in the end he did not let go, but he did not refute Jian Wushuang's words. Instead, he left a tone and solemnly said, "Then I wish Brother Wushuang after the 9th wave. He will win that piece. Treasure." After speaking, he turned and left. Jian Wushuang looked at his back and closed his eyes again. This person is too cunning. If there is a chance in the 9th wave, he is more willing to slay this person. Dear, click in. Give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that the new full marks are found at the end of The Beautiful Wife. The new revision and upgrade address of the mobile station. Data and bookmarks are synchronized with the computer station, and fresh reading without ads. Chapter 5260. Inside the Suzuka Hall. A group of veterans pushed the cup and changed the time to evaluate the princes on the original star. As for the fallen Dian immortals, they all chose not to see them. In their opinion, entering the Qixin temple was a waste of resources. It also means that the temple family has a big cause and doesn't care about those. According to Zhu Yi, they are not afraid of large numbers. Even if a half-step emperor is born out of 1,000,000 Dian immortals, the temple of Qixin will make money. Now it seems that they are not earning less. Before entering the temple of Qixin, Jian Wushuang and Huiqing only ranked in strength, and they couldn't enter the first 100 million. Now the first 500 properly. In addition to the two of them, there are also a few amazing and brilliant people. When they entered the temple of Qixin, the 9th-ranked Dian immortal, who was only a 2nd-rank origin, has now broken through the 9th rank and has reached the level of consummation. This is also a big profit. Anyway, the Dian immortal, who can finally settle in the 4 secret realms, does not exceed 10,000 people. The lowest threshold for these 10,000 people is Daojun. This was just the beginning. The original Taoist had 700 or 800 people, but at the end of the first stage, it has increased to 1,000. This is a Taoist who has been tempered from life and death, and has great potential. The second stage is the real explosive growth. It has almost doubled. Maybe they didn't feel Tao themselves, they already had Tao's sovereign combat power. The half-step emperors who originally had about 200 people, and most of them were the ultimate way, have now doubled, and there are already more than 400 half-step emperors. Among them are dozens of Dian immortals who are comparable to emperors. Among them are Wanxing, who has been away from 200, and Huiqing. It is not surprising that there is no Jian Wushuang among these people, because the second stage of the trial is too friendly to Jian Wushuang, just like the Blood Moon Daojun on the Eclosion continent. Hall Master Zhu Yi, don't sell it anymore. Let's talk about whether Master Jinling is interested in Jian Wushuang. Now many people are staring at this kid, and be careful to you away. Qiu Huang smiled heartily, asked actively, although he is at the end, he is no worse than those people in terms of strength. It's just that the existence that suppressed him back then was too strong. In the 4 great mysteries that were once, they were all trembling existences. When he entered the temple of Qixin at that time, he didn't know how high the existence was, and thought he had entered. The temple of Qixin is the person of the gods, and he is no longer calling for the existence of that person, and cursed the existence of that person if nothing happened, and was finally taught a lesson. His position in the temple of Qixin also plummeted. Back then, people like them had obvious status. For example, the old guy Yang Sanmu is a member of the 4 secret realms, and he is only a member of the handle. It stands to reason that as long as you have tier 5 combat power, you can be ranked B, and if you have great achievements, you can personally promote the Qixin to a member. Although his credit was not small back then, he has not yet reached the level of A, but he also has the identity of B-san. From top to bottom, 9 is the smallest and 1 is the largest. Sheep's 3 eyes were promoted to grade 6, because they were casters of gods, and their status was very high. Only those 6th-order emperors can have this treatment, and above there are some extremely powerful emperors with special skills, such as the one who once suppressed him. His font size is Jai, which is comparable to those divine masters. The foreign god, taking refuge in the gods, is only the beginning of A, and then rises. Precisely speaking, the lowest threshold for the members of the T-shaped sign is the Emperor, and the fourth-order Emperor of the handle size can directly enter, and the B-shaped corresponding to the fifth-order Emperor. Of course, there are also many fourth-order Emperors who have made great contributions to enter the B-shaped name. Most of the type names are sixth-order Emperors, and a small part are fifth-order Emperors. The top font size is Tianziho. The Emperor was not allowed to enter, and even the Peerless Sword and the Emperor, who had the power against the sky, did not get the title of Heaven. Qiu Huang is miserable. When he was cut into the T-shaped number, he climbed all the way to the handle number 1. The gods collapsed, and they had to sleep in the 4 secret realms. Now it is recovering Xiongguan Road, starting from scratch. The difference in font size is also the difference in resources. The relationship is very great, as can be seen from the order. I just don't know if the current true spirit will recite the original affection. Although they have been summoned, their strength has been rigid, and it will reawaken the combat power of the year. If the credit points in the identity token can be redeemed for treasures, they still have the hope of regaining their peaks. They also have identity tokens just like those trialists, except that their identities are different. They are responsible for building the Temple of the Gods, and those trials are to enjoy the great opportunity of the Temple of the Gods. The gap is too big. The 3 eyes of the sheep in the front seat were all raised by Qiu Huang, and they also followed up inquiries. Others also looked sideways. Zhui lowered his eyebrows and smiled, pointing out. A ripple also appeared in the sky curtain, and the picture continued to zoom in, and finally fixed in the north tower of Qiu Huangcheng, the original star of Jiajiu. In the picture, it is a delicate monk with thick eyebrows, clear eyes, distinct facial features, and a loose monk robe floating in the wind. And beside him, there was a twittering teenager, who danced with his hands from time to time, and made gestures. Everyone naturally put him aside, and stared at the delicate monk. This person is Hui Qing. It's really him. I thought it was Jian Wushuang, that kid. Qiu Huang stared blankly. Yang Sanmu was also a little shocked, staring at the delicate monk in the sky. Recalling the scene when he saw him, his brows stretched out, a smile leaked, and he sighed, "Goodness! This son really extraordinary, the realm of rank 9, rivals the power of the Emperor. Congratulations to the Lord Zhu Yi. This person will be under your command in the future. Now that he is strong enough, he will be able to fight the Emperor after he breaks through and becomes the 9th rank consummation." Zhu Yi leaked a smile on his face, but he cursed secretly in his heart. Based on her understanding of the true spirit, I am afraid that if she dares to create a primitive star, the true spirit will take people away. The true spirit does not recognize the rules set by the gods back then, and naturally will not leave the people he likes in the Vermilion Bird Palace. I am afraid that when the time comes, he will set up a separate world for the people he chooses to practice. Rebellious. Zhu Yi wanted to point at the real spirit and curse. Why, back then, the master had to make a death order and obey the true spirit. Now I can't resist, I can only watch. Ding! The token trembled. All the veterans present felt their identity tokens trembling and watched them carefully. The Senate Palace was established, independent of the 4 main halls. After everyone saw this sentence, their expressions changed, and Zhu Yi naturally couldn't escape Zhu Yi's eyes. She also seemed to feel a little bit bad, and quickly took out her identity token. Senior Palace. Zhu Yi is going crazy. In addition to the 4 main halls of independence, this true spirit is ready to rebel. The veterans present also looked at each other, not knowing why, but they knew a little bit that Zhu Yi was afraid to drive them out. The Palace of the Elders outside the 4 main halls of independence. MX. Chapter 5261. This is something that I haven't thought of before. The 4 great halls are the core subordinates of Qixin, just like those shaped existences, most of which are the core existence in the 4 great halls. Now that they have recovered, the others should have recovered, and now all of these people are removed from the 4 main halls, and all are recruited into the Senate Palace. Isn't this dismantling the core layer of the past? The true spiritual purpose is not pure. These people are not the core, but now they are recruited into the Senate Palace, but they have become the core, which is equivalent to chasing after the master of the Qishan Temple. At the same time, on the bloodthirsty continent, there were thousands of true veterans who were the true cores of the four great halls. They were really drunk in the Azure Dragon Hall, and ate the unique food on the bloodthirsty continent. Once this hissed out, they banished them to the void. The Xuanwu Temple is okay. Xianyi's character has always been calm and unmoving on the surface. He has mobilized an army of puppets in private to firmly control the third world. Even he felt that this true spirit was about to rebel. Fortunately, he didn't tell the true spirit everything. Among the four main halls, his Xuanwu Hall was able to build puppets, and there were secrets in it, but fortunately, he didn't say all of them. The White Tiger Palace was fighting everywhere to clean up the four secret realms. The true spirit had also come to help them clean up once, and also awakened so many elders at once, and the people in the White Tiger Palace were very moved. I felt that the real spirit was also very easy to talk, but turned around and made something that was not done by humans. Fortunately, he doesn't have those veterans here, and it's useless to stay if his strength is too weak. Traitor! Zhu Yiqiang resisted the impulse and glanced at the people below with a dark face. This look shocked everyone. Zhu Yi was the first seat of the Vermilion Bird Palace. When the Qishan refined the four first seats, she spent a lot of thought on it. Her power is not only the Sixth Order Emperor. Powerhouses of this level, let alone them now, even if they were at their peak, they can still ravage them at will. The two sides confronted each other like this. Qiu Huang had small eyes like mung beans. It was so sudden just now that the wine he had just drunk in his mouth didn't even swallow, and he couldn't help but squirt out directly. Ah! Zhu Yi snorted coldly, and his figure disappeared above the hall in a flash. She is going to ask True Spirit. What is this going to do? Separation. The power of the True Spirit is the greatest, and now this one is to completely dismantle the former core four halls and re-establish the Qishan Temple. This news shocked the inside of Qishan Temple, but it did not affect the cruelty on the original star. Thousands of devouring demon lords waited in a serious array. The formation was set. Only Jian Wushuang was outside the city, and there were tens of thousands of pairs of eyes on the wall, watching all this. There is a haze in the big, dead sky outside today's style. Jian Wushuang stood in the air without a sword in his hand. At this time, he didn't use any treasures, but his thought power had been condensing, and his thought power was flooded in the surrounding millions of miles. Every trace of thought power is like a long sword, and hundreds of millions of thought power are billions of long swords. My heart is the only one. Jian Wushuang sighed with emotion in his heart. The fifth level of mental strength is really not that simple. Now that his mental strength, mind strength, and kendo are all in a bottleneck state, this makes him very anxious, and the three are the only one. The only point today is in kendo. It seems that kendo spans everything, but in fact his current kendo is like a human eye, shrinking to the extreme. It is too difficult to break. Thousands of devouring demon lords rushed out of the black mist. After this army rushed out, the black fog was lightened a lot. It seems that the devouring demon lord has already appeared for the most part, and the rest is estimated to be those 4 or even 5 stars. The devouring of the devil. Of course there are 6 stars and even 7 stars. Zhu Xian. Jian Wushuang shouted angrily. Before the devouring demon lord struck, there were 18 long swords instantly condensed around him. Go with. 18 long swords, turned into a long rainbow, running through the world. The unparalleled immortal formation used by the ultimate kendo, unparalleled in ancient times, penetrates everything. The streamer that the long sword turns into is constantly dividing, from 18 handles to 3672, to the last 3,600 swords. Jian Wushuang's strongest Zhu Xian formation now is the 18 Phantom Sword. But to deal with these 3-star devouring demon lord, the strongest Zhu Xian array has the effect of slashing flies with a big knife, which is very difficult. It's better to separate out and maximize the Zhu Xian array. Although the overall power becomes weaker, It is the best to deal with these devouring demon lords. 3,600 phantom swords spread over the sky, forming a huge sword formation. Haha! The sword formations were interspersed first, and after crushing hundreds of thousands of devouring demon lords, they stood upright one after another, forming a six-pointed star shape from above. At this time Zhu Xian today slay the demons. Jian Wushuang turned into 3,000, got up and entered the battle. Take the 3,000 stars busy. Open the perfect fairy array. Boom. 3,600 swords fell into the devouring army and turned into a huge star sword catalog. The catalog keeps rotating, and the power that it radiates has caused the devouring monarchs above to fall one after another. This is the trial of the immortal in the ultimate immortal formation. After the 10,000 devouring demon entered the formation, both feet unconsciously fell on the formation map, and the whole body began to sink continuously. For a time, the first two rows of devouring demon lords, all 400,000 were trapped in a large formation, and they were strangled clean. This caused everyone on the wall to take a breath. There is even a whole card. Tearing the sky couldn't help blurting out. Mo Long stood above the city wall, leading the people behind him. There was excitement and fear in his eyes. He could not forget the phantom sword that Jian Wushuang used, which once forced him into a desperate situation. At the beginning Jian Wushuang's strength was still comparable to him, but now in only 3 years, the difference in strength is actually like this. If he was among the 10,000 devouring demon lord, he would have no chance of turning over, and he would be besieged to death. But Jian Wushuang could block the 10,000s alone. This kind of terrorist combat power, showing a powerful background, is absolutely invincible. They could see that the strength of the sword formation threatened the limit Dian Immortal the most, but no one of them was able to maintain such a huge sword formation, and strangling the 3 stars to devour the devil. The force needed by this large array every moment is an astronomical figure. One breath can consume the energy stored by a Taoist monarch, which was calculated by Jian Wushuang. Although they can't see it, they can also feel Tao. Puff. Jian Wushuang maintained for only a few breaths. His own power dropped sharply. His limit was a stick of incense. But if it really reached that point, he himself would be finished. Ready to meet the enemy? Jian Wushuang reminded, and then contracted the large formation, and the 3,600 swords instantly merged into 960 swords. In just this time, with the absolute immortal formation, he killed almost 2 million devouring demon lords. Now after shrinking twice, he can still block 4 million, and the remaining 4 million is really impossible to block. Dear, click in. Give a good comment. The higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that the new full marks are found at the end of The Beautiful Wife. The new revision and upgrade address of the mobile station. Data and bookmarks are synchronized with the computer station, and fresh reading without ads. Chapter 5262. He also wants to earn more treasures, but his strength does not allow it. After the sword formation narrowed down, the devouring demon lord was like a dam bursting, turning into a scourge, rushing to Qiuhuang City. Standing in the middle of the city wall, Dao Xing Tian, his eyes filled with madness, his hands changed and turned scarlet. Kill, 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 kill. Tens of thousands of people formed a line of defense to meet the millions of devouring demon lord who rushed over. The monarch of Tier Heaven was the first to bear the brunt, and one person rushed out, turned into a streamer, and could not see his figure, but he could see several claw marks that tore the void left in the sky. Countless claw marks remain in the sky for a long time. Each claw caused thousands of devouring demon lords to fall, and when converted into the most precious point, it was 1,000 points. How can this not make the tearing sky crazy? Soon, the defensive line collided with the devouring demon lord, and 1 out of 10 top-level Dian Immortals had a pinnacle of great immortality. Among the 10 peak Great Fairy Immortals, there will be another extreme Great Fairy Immortal. As for those generals and half-walking monarchs, they are walking around the city wall they are responsible for. If there is a gap, they will go there to fill it up. They are willing to waste a moment of time, and even burn the divine body to double their speed and power. Fight! A pinnacle Dayan immortal took the initiative to lead people to burn the divine body, and began to work hard. The god Emperor Mo Long, who was in charge of this side, cursed. "You are crazy. This is just the beginning. Is it burning the origin?" Boom. After smashing out a punch and repelling hundreds of devouring demon lords, Mo Long rushed to this side and quickly cleaned up the thousands of devouring demon lords surrounding him. He also suffered some injuries and quickly took out 2 Xinyan stones. "Just hold one by one and absorb it, crazy." He followed his father and had a lot of knowledge. This god growth crystal is very rare in the outside world, but it is cheap in the temple of the gods. A treasure can restore its strength. After he recovered, Mo Long looked at the few Dayan immortals with broken bodies inside and turned and left. As soon as they collided, they burned their origins. Originally, he wanted to say something, but after seeing their miserable situation, he realized that the current form surpassed their cognition. Of the 10 top Dayan immortals, 7 have fallen, and the remaining 3 divine bodies are damaged, and nearly 30% of the origin has been extracted. I don't know how many years, or how many treasures it will take to repair in the future. That pinnacle powerhouse was okay, but he burned part of his source, and was not swallowed. This time the rate of fall is faster than the previous total. It was only a quarter of an hour after the fight that suffered heavy casualties. Now there are millions of troops outside the city. No matter how fast Jian Wushuang kills, it will take a long time. Can he withstand it? It's really good. It's worth installing. After all, you can cache books and read them offline. Compared with the others, their team was lucky. In the attack just now, many teams all fell, and no one was spared. Jian Wushuang, the core of the battlefield, ran a large formation wholeheartedly, constantly eroding these devouring demon monarchs, and he was relieved for a while. Millions of devouring demon lords were all playing with applause, playing them round and round. My devouring power has become stronger again. Jian Wushuang's heart moved. After the strangulated devouring demon lord was swallowed by him, he obviously felt that it was several times stronger than before. If it swallows a complete origin path, his extreme path can obtain at least 3 cost sources. It's a pity that now there is no source for him to swallow. Only these demon kings can be swallowed, and the increase is only the swallowing power, which also fills the hunger in his heart by the way. It's time. Jian Wushuang's heart moved. The universe is infinite, Xian Huang is one. One thought of the universe. Do whatever you want. At this moment, the universe of one mind was huge, and even the black mist was wrapped in it. Jian Wushuang used all his mind power, and the universe of one mind was as long as 30 million miles in diameter. This is the limit today. In the universe of one mind, the power of the phantom sword has become more powerful, and the energy consumed has also increased a lot. Jian Wushuang turned over and took out a pot of dirty wine. This was exchanged from Qiu Huangli, and it was worth tens of thousands of treasures. An ordinary Dayan immortal only needed a drop to instantly recover from a dying state. The value of this pot can be imagined. If the Shen Yanjing used by God Emperor Mo Long was the cabbage in the ground, then the turbid wine in his hand was the dragon meat in the sky. The incomparable sweet smell made Jian Wushuang's appetite wide open. He raised his head and poured into his mouth, his whole body exuding a pale golden light. Jian Wushuang took a big sip, making his whole person almost swelled. Minute. In one word, 960 swords, instantly transformed into 3,600 swords, and then divided into 7,200 swords. At this moment, the universe is full of terrifying sword intent. That's how it is called. The sword spirit is full of the world. Jian Wushuang's mouth turned upward. Originally, he didn't want to be so wasteful, but now the kendo is loose, and he hasn't fought desperately for a long time. Now he wants to see how strong his limit state is. 3,600 swords can stop 10 million, and now there are only 7 million on the field. He has to see how long these 7,200 swords can hold and kill the devouring monarch. A large number of devouring demon lords outside the city wall squeezed their bodies one by one, trying to rush to the city wall, but after feeling the breath behind, turned their heads and rushed straight to Jian Wushuang's position. That breath makes them even more crazy. Although almost 2 million devouring demon lords had been withdrawn, the form of the first city wall was still not very good. After all, devouring demon lords who were withdrawn were only those from the rear, and the fighting in front was still fierce, especially at the very edge of the city wall, where the line of defense was the weakest. The general in charge here had been seriously injured, his divine body was broken, and one person resisted tens of thousands of devouring demon lords. Originally, there were more than 3,000 Dian Immortals in his line of defense, but now there are only a few hundred people left. Half of them are pinnacle Dian Immortals, and they are now the most elite Dian Immortals. It's all at this time. If you don't burn the origin, just wait for death, the general roared. It's time to kill, and he still wants to preserve his strength. If it weren't for the rules not to kill each other, he really wanted to slash these people with a knife. Especially those few extreme Dian Immortals, the strongest but also the most afraid of death. As long as 100, they will bypass other people and change their positions privately. This section of the city wall is now precarious and cannot be held at all. The devouring demon lord of this section of the city wall alone has 100,000. Hundreds of them couldn't stop them, and they were soon forced to the barrier. This is the first time they have been forced to this position. Jia, the devouring demon rushed up, and the walls at this time were crowded with devouring demon. A total of 7 to 80,000. Taoist Tier Heaven has been walking around other city walls to maintain balance. Now that he sees the situation here, he can't help cursing in his heart. Can only go to support at full speed through the air. A hole is opened. Once these people have fallen, the devouring demon lord can turn into a big mouth, biting off the Dian Immortal on the entire city wall. By then, the people will die and the city wall will be broken. No, even if their city wall was scrapped, they were all forced to retire. Chapter 5263. Within the scope of Yin universe, Jian Wushuang clearly perceives, and also finds the gap. A total of 7,200 swords rose up instantly. Go with! Jian Wushuang shouted angrily, and the Juxian formation broke through the air and left, and began to lean towards the city wall. From the beginning, he never thought that these people would be able to hold on. Not to mention 2 million. Even if it is 1 million, it is very difficult for them to guard. Now he has to rely on himself. The city wall cannot be broken. If he breaks it, he will give up all his previous achievements. At least he has to get through the 11th wave, and let the candle dragon wings and the candle dragon eyes merge with each other. There is only one crystal source, which is his primary goal today. Therefore he has already considered this 9th wave. If it is not possible, he will defend the city wall with the sword formation. He is alone, using the law of heaven and earth to stop the remaining devouring demon lord. Once he loses the sword formation, he can only use the power of the origin and the divine body to stop those devouring demon kings. At that time, he would not have any greater means of killing, and the speed of killing these devouring demon kings would become very slow, and he would also be in desperate situation. Big, Jian Wushuang's figure expanded from 10,000 battles to tens of thousands of battles, but his boat's huge speed did not slow down, stopping millions of devouring demon lords in front of Qiuhuang City. Now there are only more than 2 million people attacking the city. With the absolute immortal formation, he only needs to resist for 1 hour. 1 hour is enough to kill all the devouring demon kings who are attacking the city, really looking for death. Team Tian also noticed Jian Wushuang's side, especially seeing the sword array landing on the city wall, helping others to guard the city wall. Without this method, Jian Wushuang himself fell into the army, which was very dangerous. Once his strength was lost too much and his strength weakened, he would be in danger of falling. Burn all the origins, resist me, or I will die. Torn the sky roared, and smoothly dragged several cowardly warriors into the devouring monarch behind them. Their figures instantly turned into a blood mist. and in the end even their breath was swallowed by those devouring monarchs. He himself also took the lead in burning the origin, and at the expense of the divine body, he madly beheaded the devouring demon lord who had climbed the city wall. If Jian Wushuang couldn't hold it, they would really be finished. Taoist tier heaven knows the current form very well. Once the city wall is broken, even if they survive, they will not be able to participate in the subsequent battles, and the second stage of the trial will be over. Boom! Another line of defense broke. Fortunately, there are sword formations constantly strangling those devouring demon lords who want to tear the enchantment. Otherwise they will really be broken. It is like Jian Wushuang who is Qing Tian, his arms stretched out to be 1,000,000 miles long. In Yin universe, his strength has increased several times. Although there is no sword formation, his divine body has reached 8,000 times. The origin of Jidao is extremely strong. Even if he burns the power of the origin for an hour, he will not be damaged in the slightest. With the exception of Jian Wushuang on the 4 major walls, life on the other walls was not easy. Outside the city walls of Lingshuang and Blood Moon Taoist, the Scarlet Domain and the Frost Snow World overlapped, and the methods of both were similar, and they could barely hold on. Moreover, in addition to the two, there is also one person who also has the power of Dao Jun, a cold spear, shuttles the battlefield, and the world of killing is turbulent. The Dian Immortal on the city wall is also much higher than the configuration on the East City. At least the number of people is a complete victory. After fighting for so long, there are still 50,000 people. Among them, there are 10 half-trail monarchs. For a time, they actually blocked the 10,000 devouring demon lord. If Jian Wushuang knew, he would definitely vomit blood. The gap would be too great. The situation of the Wanqing Tiandi was better than them. One person was in charge of all directions, and the Great Seal instantly destroyed hundreds of thousands of devouring demon lords. Announcement: Mimi reading gap. The Dian Immortal on the city wall didn't lose much at all. This powerful combat power shocked everyone watching. As for Huiqing and Ji Chaoyang, the situation is somewhat reversed. Today the city walls are in jeopardy. Huiqing stopped 5 million devouring demon lord alone, and Ji Chaoyang also stopped more than 3 million on the wall. But it didn't help. The city wall would have to be broken sooner or later, especially the fallen Dian Immortal. Originally their strength was the most complete. In the 9th wave, there were almost 70,000 people. Now they have fallen in less than an hour. 50,000. It's over. Ji Chaoyang rescued everywhere, and did not help. He has made a breakthrough in the origin of space, and the increased combat power is not enough to reverse the universe. He bursts out desperately, and is the top power among Dao sovereigns. In such battle conditions, it would be difficult to reverse the power of the emperor without a half-step. Huiqing, Ji Chaoyang whispered. Seeing Huiqing turned into the head of a monk, and stopped 5 million to devour the devil, he was embarrassed to open his mouth. Ji Chaoyang glanced at the fearful Dian Immortals, and shouted angrily, "It's all rubbish." In fact, when they tried their best at the beginning, they were not so miserable. The bad thing is that those protected by the two of them are too good. Now that the real fight, some dare not to burn the original source to fight, so that there is no time to display their strength, and they fall. Up. At this time, these people haven't reacted yet. If you don't look at the current form, you will die if you don't fight. Broken. The spear was like a dragon. After rushing away tens of thousands of devouring demon lords, Ji Chaoyang once again went to other broken lines of defense. His form here is more tragic than Jian Wushuang's side, but his strength in tearing the sky is the same, and it doesn't play much role at all. Huiqing, who swallowed the devil in the depths, was bathed in sacred light, shining on the heavens and the earth. The power of reincarnation is almost infinite. He is invincible. One stick stirred the situation, and killed tens of thousands of devouring demon lord. Looking back, the city wall was already in ruins. Huiqing sighed in a low voice. He has seen this scene. That is the battlefield of bones in the great wilderness. In just over 10 years, he changed from being a little novice to a peerless Tianjiao now, and even the temple of Qishan did not hesitate to pass it down to him. But only he knows all kinds of past lives. In exchange for the bravery of this life, the last time a few masters fell, and Jian Wushuang desperately helped him, he survived. At that time, he was even more desperate, but eventually he survived. Jian Wushuang was able to save him under those circumstances. What a huge determination this was. Now that the position has been changed, he has hesitated to save people. He still remembers the last scene of the inheritance of an old man, with a fleshy beard on the corner of his mouth. Child, fate, reincarnation. You and I have a future. You can't hide from this disaster. After the old man left this sentence, there was a golden hoop in his heart. Fuck the magic circle. In addition to all demons in the world, the demons sit in the heart. For greater goodness. Hui Qing yelled in her heart, and the golden hoop rose instantly, flew out of her heart, and appeared on his forehead. At this moment, golden light appeared in his eyes, and these devouring demon kings turned into filthy things in his eyes. Damn it all! The long stick smashed down again, killing 1,000,000 and devouring the devil in one move. This huge breath broke the battlefield. Chapter 52-64. The devourers felt the breath and fled one after another, trying to bypass Hui Qing to attack the city, but the long sticks didn't give them this opportunity at all, dancing again, directly annihilating countless devourers. Jia. They are beginning to be scared. This scene has never happened before. And even if they are beheaded, they have no regrets. But now I am scared. What's afraid of is the breath on Hui Qing's body. Fuemo. The city wall. Countless people shake. Hui Qing's strength exploded in an instant, and it was so strong. This is not comparable to the emperor. It is clearly the emperor. One breath strangles millions. Just a cup of tea time. In this piece of heaven and earth, there is no more devouring demon lord. Standing on the city wall, Ji Chaoyang stared at Hui Qing in a daze. The breath was so strange that it made him feel jealous. Hui Qing. Ji Chaoyang cried tentatively. Hui Qing outside the city put away the long stick, and once the golden hoop was worn, it was impossible to untie it. With it, the thoughts of hatred filled Hui Qing's mind. This evil is not a simple devil, but an evil that devours the devil. All the choppy that swallowed it. He turned around and came to the city wall. When he saw Ji Chaoyang, he nodded faintly and rushed back to his previous character. After not finding anything wrong, Ji Chaoyang breathed a sigh of relief. Their wall is probably the fastest wall on all primitive stars to end the battle. With the first one, there will be a second one. It's just that now, no matter how they fight, they haven't been able to attract the attention of Qishan Temple. Because at this time, the universe of Qishan Temple is full of evil spirits. The head of the 4 main halls came personally, and there were 3 guardians. The fighting power of the 7 and 6th tier emperors. If you are outside, let alone the primitive universe, you can walk sideways even in the long river of time and space. At present, the time and space of the original universe is in Long Hanoi. But there is no one at the peak of the universe, and the 6th order emperor is really walking sideways. In addition to these people, there are more than 2,000 elders who have been moved in. All the elders who were assigned to the 4 main halls came. These people looked at each other and stood aside without saying anything. The other 7 are murderous. Master True Spirit, this matter is not in compliance with the rules, and there are too many discrepancies with the owner. I will forgive it. The first white one, in the talking white tiger palace among the 4 halls, he advocated crusade. Although the 4 secret realms have been crusade and suppressed, the combat power is not weak at all. Once in the 4 secret realms, he killed a rebellious 6th order indigenous emperor. His words still have a lot of weight. Zhu Yi controls the great treasure house of the primordial world, and Long Yi is responsible for running the temple of Qishan. Xian Yi is the most mysterious. He has built his nest in the outer world. There are hundreds of domains, and 10 of them have been created by him. No one knows how many powerful puppets there are. Not only puppets, but also formations. Xian Yi is the top master, surpassing the former master. These 4 talents are the real core of the Qishan Temple, and almost all the treasures in the Qishan Temple are in the hands of the 4. As for the guardians, look at me and I will look at you. They didn't have anything, they had a fighting strength. Zhenling blew his beard and stared, flicked his sleeves and exclaimed, "Pick a lantern in broad daylight, what are you looking at?" The spirit guard crouched, trying to speak, but was interrupted by the true spirit. "Do you know what should you do? Subordinates know that, take care of the master's body." Zhenling said with a cold face and continued, "Then you know who you are." "No. The subordinates are spirit guards." The spirit watcher didn't know what the real spirit was doing for a while, so he had to answer 1 to 5 to 10. "Oh, you knew it." Zhenling sneered, and then sternly said with his face, "I know what you are still doing here. Go back to the tomb of God, other things wait for me to notify." Zhenling's roar shocked everyone else. Many of them clearly felt the breath that just radiated, that it was the breath of the origin of the universe. And it was an extremely powerful origin of the universe. This is the master of the universe, who is the pinnacle of the universe. The guardian trembled in his heart. His figure bent down a lot, and then he didn't dare to say a word. He concealed his figure and disappeared into the sea of the universe. After the 3 spirit guards retreated, Zhenling's complexion eased, and when he turned his head to look at the 4 hall masters, he leaked a smile. "Ahem. Just a few slaves," everyone laughed. True Spirit changed from normal, and even took the initiative to bow. This made several hall masters feel incredible, secretly guessing in their hearts, what this old man is doing. Seeing the strange smile on Zhenling's face, the veterans couldn't help but shrink their necks. Even those spirit guards who used to be the personal guards of the gods, do not have the qualifications to speak, even less. Moreover, it seems that they are still on the side of the real spirit, and it is good for them to establish a senior palace. At least they will have rights in the future. Don't say that they have the courage to refute. Even if they have the courage, they will not refute the true spirit, but stand firmly on the side of the true spirit. For the first seat of the White Tiger Hall, the Lord by E's face is pale, but he bit his head and said, "Master True Spirit, the master set the core for refining the 4 main halls back then. This really cannot be changed." The others followed suit and bowed. "I know, I never want to change anything, but the current temple of Qishan still needs other powers. These elders, which of these elders are not heroes who have shed blood for the temple of Qishan? They should have recovered long ago, and regained their vitality. Re-enter the 4 secret realms. And the establishment of the Senate Palace is urgent. After I have finished speaking, who is for? Who is against?" Zhenling stretched out his hands. One side is tens of millions of yuan, and the other is the old core 4 halls. As soon as he said this, his aura instantly stood up. Those veterans are excited, and they will definitely support it. As for the 4 halls, I'm afraid. Zhu stood up at this moment, and was the first to speak. "I follow the master's death." After hearing this, the Lord of the White Tiger snorted, disappeared and left here. I have no objection. Long Yi had no confidence, and there were no people under him. Not as strong as the White Tiger Palace, Zhu did not have the confidence to control the treasure house, and even less profound than Xian Yi. Originally, he was very opposed to this matter. As the core of the 4 halls, it has been the rules for many years, and now the Palace of the Elders has suddenly been added. Isn't this dividing the forces in the Temple of the Gods? But in the face of the powerful True Spirit, he can only bow his head. Standing at the back, Xianyi leaked a smile and nodded slightly, agreeing. 3 to 1, this is the case. Since Bai questioned my order, let him go to the tomb of the gods and guard the body of the old master. With a light and fluttering sentence, Zhenling sent the White Tiger Temple to the desolate tomb of the gods. Of the 4 secret realms, the most mysterious is the tomb of the gods, and the most desolate is the tomb of the gods. Chapter 5265. This is considered to be Bai, sent to the frontier. Just after suppressing the rebellion in the 4 great secret realms, the real spirit will unload the grit and kill the donkey. This caused those veterans to take a breath, so unfeeling and crazily suppressing the old forces. It seems that true spirit is determined to cleanse the internal forces of the Temple of Qixin. They are all human spirits, and they understand the true spirit's intentions. This time is also their opportunity. With the decline of established forces, they took the opportunity to rise. Restore the peak. Okay, things are settled like this. You are all busy people. I won't keep you here. Let's go and work on your own. The trial of primordial realm ends as soon as possible. The real practice is the 4 secret realms, not primitives. Xing. As for the immortal in the outer world, I think he will stay in the Xuanwu Hall first, cultivated by Xuanyi himself, and then transfer to the primitive realm when he arrives at Dian Immortal. The real spirit's voice was gentle, and it was just a word to dismiss them. For these stubborn puppets, the true spirits look down on them from the bottom of their hearts. Even if you have the 7-orifice exquisite heart, and your mind is far beyond normal, it is not a human being. After all, it is just a puppet. After the hall masters stepped back, the true spirit turned to face the elders, revealing a kind of smile. Everyone, you all have contributed to the successful completion of the Qixin Temple. I will now honor the promise I left back then, and regain my identity in the Senator Palace. I can go to the 4 secret realms. There are my people over there. The true spirit's voice paused, and then said, after your identity is restored, you will be rewarded according to your merits. Don't worry. Everything you have done will not be forgotten by the Temple of God. A group of elders bowed solemnly to thank them, and then gradually disappeared. They are weak now, and still can't come and go freely. It is the true spirit that transports them to the 4 secret realms. After all these people left, Zhen Ling's expression became serious. Xian Yi, the master of the Xuanwu Temple who had left, reappeared in the Sea of Origin. Zhen Ling was not surprised when he saw the incoming person, but said politely, Xian Yi, that senior, after all left it to you, now you can do it. Master True Spirit, don't worry. The 2 figures flickered, and appeared in the most central part of the Origin Sea, where there was an emerald green palace. After entering the palace, the 2 sat opposite each other, and a teapot appeared out of thin air on the jade table in front of them. After Zhen Ling himself poured a cup of tea for Xian Yi, he poured himself another cup. It's okay now. After Xian Yi looked around for a while, he still said a little worried. This matter is too much related. Don't worry, there is time and space in this temple, and it has been independent of time and space. It is one of the strongest treasures in the Temple of Qi, you can rest assured. The true spirit said solemnly. After taking a sip of tea slowly, Xian nodded his head a little before he could tell the secret thing. After Zhen Ling heard this, his flesh was vacant and his eyes were dull. Xian Yi also shook his head silently. He was originally the same as the other 3 hall masters. They were all puppets refined by the gods, although he was bestowed with 7 orifices exquisite heart. But he knew that he was not a practitioner at all. The Qixin gave him only a 7-orifice exquisite heart, and the senior gave him a complete life. The divine body, origin and physical body are the keys to practice. Real people are not those that can be represented, feelings, wisdom, and thinking. I understand, can you still contact that senior now? Zhen Ling asked again. Xian Yi shook his head, out of his own guess. That senior is probably not a practitioner of today, but a strong man who will control time and space in the future. He traveled through the long river of time, came to the primitive universe, entered the Temple of Qixin, and the outside world has his breath. Future. Rao is really knowledgeable, and has inherited most of the memories of Qixin, but he still feels incredible. The powerhouse who masters time and space can travel through time, and be truly immortal. Why does such a strong man come back to this long river of time that is drying up? The true spirit is a little confused, and also chose to come here at this time. There is not even a master of the universe. What is the purpose of coming here? With so many rivers in the starry sky, I just came here, and also led the Temple of Qixin to this. What is all this for? Do you know the name of that senior? Xian Yi shook his head, but thought of one thing, and said, the senior seems to have deliberately concealed himself. He used my name in the outside world. Shuttle time. It seems that there is still scrupulousness. Even if you master time and space, you must not change the things of this era. Junling guessed. These methods are too unbelievable, and he is just guessing. Master True Spirit, let's solve the immediate matter. Since the senior is willing to remind, then we can change some things in the future, and we can't just wait and die. Xianyi frowned, and that incident would indeed affect the overall situation, and even completely collapse the Temple of Qixin. Migrate first. Junling sighed. His migration is not as simple as leaving the original universe, but leaving this long river of time and space, drifting in the chaotic and unknown time and space turbulence, to other time and space rivers. Xian changed his eyes and blurted out migration. Correct. We have no choice but to migrate first. If what the predecessor said is true, we must migrate. The main body fell back then, and cannot be changed. Now that the catastrophe is coming, we can escape if we can't change it. After True Spirit took the attention, his eyes became firm. The two fell silent and drank tea in silence. Because of that incident, he was not allowed to pull out the waste and build the Senate Palace. All this is to prepare for other time and space after the migration. The Temple of Qixin is a mobile treasure house, and there are no strong men under his men. How can he defend this family business? In front of that incident, the trial looked a little pale and weak. Primitive world. Qiu Huangcheng. Guiqing was the first to finish, and then Wanqing. The other two walls still fought hard to resist. Blood Moon and Lingshuang Daojun increased a lot in strength, and the two of them could barely compete with each other. It was not a problem to defend the walls. Jian Wushuang is at stake here. With the absolute immortal array, plus the 20,000 remnants of Dian Immortal, facing close to 3 million devouring demon lord, he still couldn't fully defend it. The majestic Jian Wushuang, while entangled the devouring demon lord, who was constantly attacking the enchantment, also stopped the remaining 5 million devouring demon lord. Yes, he alone fought the devouring demon lord on the entire battlefield. Tear. This person is simply a waste. He really doesn't understand how a Taoist strongman is so wasteful, can't share it at all, like a headless fly, ramming around. The sword formation and magical powers consume a lot of him, but the speed of strangulation is slower than the beginning. When this continues, how long will he have to kill? It seems that I have to do that. Chapter 5266. Outside Qiuhuang City, the battle is endless. The towering idol fell into the devouring demon lord, and countless people fought battles on the wall. The color of Sora changed into blood at this moment. Absolute immortal sword formation, exuding endless power, and that unmatched aura. On the city wall, every Dian immortal is desperate. Buzzing. A body gleaming with a faint golden light rushed up, wearing a high crown and a majestic face. It is God Emperor Malong. Burning divine body, the original divine body, which was more than 1,000 times, soared to 3,000 times in an instant, and the source and the divine body burned together, making his strength approaching Daojun. Dead. The divine fist that shook the ground smashed towards the devouring demon lord. Thousands of devourers were smashed and flew out, giving hundreds of people behind him a breath. But it was only a breath, and the next moment was devouring demon sea. Divine Emperor Imo Long fell into the demon sea again, and his entire body was covered with golden light under the Black Sea. The top 10 generals, the first to fall, was God Emperor Malong. The stronger the combat power he exploded, the more he could attract the devouring demon's crazy attack. Hundreds of thousands of 3-star devouring demon besieged. Even if he burst out of the power of the Taoist at the last moment, he was still consumed to death. Hundreds of Great Peak Fairy immortals who originally followed Imo Long, seeing the tragedy in front of them, burst out all their surplus, resisting desperately, wanting to be dragged to the rescue. Ha! The blood claw was torn, breaking 10,000 in one blow. Quickly come here to withstand this. Tearing angrily, several half-walkers filled the vacancies again, as if no one had fallen here. The corpses of the devouring demon were all strangled and swallowed by the sword array, and the flesh of Dian Immortal was also absorbed by the devouring demon. Although the battlefield was crowded with people, at the end, there was no need to clean the battlefield at all. The entire battlefield was cleaner than before, but under Qiu Huang's city, a lot of abysses appeared. The top 10 generals fell one after another, and the remaining peak, Dian Immortal, was simply unable to resist. The 3-star Devouring Demon Lord is equivalent to the top-level Dian Immortal. In addition, the power of the Devouring Dian Immortal is soaring. Some 3-star Devouring Demon Lord, absorbing a Dian Immortal Queen, instantly stepped up and becoming a 4-star Devourer. A peak Dian Immortal can withstand at most a dozen top-level Dian Immortals. Once it exceeds hundreds of Dian Immortals, there is a danger of falling. Nowadays, there are more than 10,000 big fairy immortals on the wall, and each person on average can withstand more than 200 heads to devour the devil. However, among the more than 10,000 people, only a few thousand peak Dian Immortals, and more than half are top-level Dian Immortals, of the same rank as the Devouring Demon Lord. Can't resist at all. Tear to rescue while observing Jian Wushuang. Give some help. You have exchanged the candle dragon wings, and you have given you everything, but you have some help. Tear is very entangled now. He even has a trace of regret. If he sold the candle dragon claw on his body to Jian Wushuang, would the current situation be better? Once the city was broken, they all ruined their chances. But give away the treasure. Get your teeth. He doesn't regret it. After losing this treasure, his combat power will drop by at least 1 level, and even Dao Jun can't maintain it, no matter how strong Jian Wushuang is. What about passing through the 9th wave? In the end, it's not cheaper for others. Thinking of this, I felt firm. That was Jian Wushuang was too wasteful. This matter had nothing to do with him. He had the ability to cut him off in the first stage, and he had nothing to say. There is no door to let him hand over. The brutality on the wall exceeded Jian Wushuang's imagination. The 9th wave of Devouring Demon Lord was far more fierce than he had imagined. Although the number is only 10 times more than the 8th wave, in terms of difficulty, it is not 10 times, but 100 or even 1,000 times. In the 8th wave of offense, he was able to attract hundreds of thousands, and the rest would not attack him at all, and attack the city wall in a brainstorming manner. Of course, at that time he had the idea of preserving his strength, and now he is going all out to face the 10,000 Devouring Demon Lord, which actually forced him to this point. Fa Xiangdi, on the verge of collapse. These Devouring Demon Lords are like mice, biting an ancient giant crocodile. 1 or 2 couldn't break the defenses, but under the combined force of millions, even Jian Wushuang's crazy armor began to appear cracks. This is the first treasure, the Xianzibo that Dian Immortal couldn't damage at all. It would be very difficult for the Emperor to damage it, but now it was eaten by these rats. Absolute Immortal. Jian Wushuang's heart moved, and he didn't dare to hold it big anymore. He directly retracted the Ju Xian formation, protected his body around him, and dispelled the devouring monarchs who had surrounded him. But he recalled the sword formation, and the city wall was instantly slaughtered. When there was a sword formation, the 20,000 Dian Immortals struggled to resist, and the loss was always very large. But the Devouring Demon Lord kept flowing. Without the help of the sword formation, they couldn't resist at all, retreated all the way to the edge of the barrier, leaking a look of despair. Jian Wushuang. Tear around to rescue, he can't stop it. On the vast ocean, he is an ancient beard, and he can't swallow this black wave. He can only let these devouring demons pass by. Damn! In addition to him, there are other 4 leaders who have also given up struggling. They know there is no hope. The 19th wave swallowed the devil, and the 9th wave would not work. It's over, they are completely finished. But even if the barrier is broken, they will kill all these devouring demon kings. Everyone assemble in one place, hold a group, save your life. The remaining thousands of people gathered in one place, and even began to evacuate the city wall, slowly killing the devouring demon from the periphery. Although this time I am going to fail, but the treasure point can still be obtained. Let's stop the loss first. For those peak Dian Immortals, and even the top Dian Immortals who survived by fluke, they resisted the 9th wave at most, and now it is better to give up. and they all breathed a sigh of relief. If it hadn't been for tears to have been walking around and staring, many of them would have to run away. Tear to stare at these looking badly. He really wanted to throw these people into the devouring demon lord. It's all waste. Devouring the devil's madness. The enchantment can withstand at most one breath, and Qingpai will have no hope for them. But the remaining devouring demon lord will not disappear. They have to kill. Once it fails, it is estimated that Jian Wushuang will go crazy, and will watch them die by the time, and finally come to an end. They are also afraid. But there is no way unstoppable. It had been expected that these people would collapse, but Jian Wushuang did not expect that these people could collapse so quickly. With just one breath, the line of defense would be broken. Death to death, wound to injury. These people are unreliable. He knew it a long time ago, but he didn't expect to be so unreliable. He couldn't even imagine now how the other walls were guarded. But what he didn't know was that the other walls were much better than his current form. Both Huiqing and Wanqing ended early. The remaining southern city wall, Blood Moon and Longshuang Daojun can barely hold. Chapter 5267. The domains of these two people are very strong, especially Lung Shuang. She exchanged a lot of space treasures, the most precious treasure together with Frost Snow. In the world of Frost and Snow, she summoned 6 great ice phoenixes alone, and they were all 6 Taoist masters at once. And there were several breakthroughs on their walls, and their burning origin was comparable to Taoists. It is not surprising to hold on Jian Wushuang's side. One is that no one can cooperate with him. He can't tear the sky down the city wall, and it's useless if he goes down. He has no domain, and can only rescue around the wall. The rest of them have average strength and potential. Even if they get a lot of treasures, there will be no qualitative changes, and they will be upgraded by 1 level at most. Those half-walking monarchs finally burned the source, but they also failed to take that step. This made Jian Wushuang feel that someone was correcting him behind his back. Why is he the most unlucky every time? After the sword formation returned, protect his surroundings. There are millions of universes in the sleeves, and half of the turbid wine in the pot. Fight! Jian Wushuang gritted his teeth. He didn't want to fall here, not to mention what the sword Qiu Huang said, but the crystal origin of the 11th wave. He was determined to win, and would never give up. One thought of the universe. After pouring all the muddy wine into his mouth, his mental power and strength were restored to their peak. The one-minded universe, covering 30 million li, became more and more solidified, and the sun, moon, and stars kept changing. The terrifying power of thought not only affected those devouring demon lords, but even Dian Immortal on the wall felt dizzy, and could not feel his own body. Jian Wushuang's body is like a divine stone, affecting the surrounding environment. What is this? Torn Tian exclaimed. He has a bad feeling. Sure enough, as expected by the tower, Jian Wushuang burst out with a huge light in the next moment, illuminating the entire Yin universe. You are crazy. So I thought that Jian Wushuang was going to blow himself up. It was really the wave just now, so I wanted to explode too much, and the whole Buddha's power was gathered in the whole body, and it exploded in an instant. Boom, boom, boom. Jian Wushuang blew himself up, and he didn't know whether he should be happy or sad. If Jian Wushuang fell, how would he deal with these devouring demon lords? Wrong. Jian Wushuang blew himself up. Wouldn't he kill these devouring demon lords? In addition, he can leave the wings of the candle dragon, and another treasure of the candle dragon on his body. Thinking of this, I felt a little short of breath. The dazzling light struck in an instant, and everyone clenched their teeth. The light overwhelmed the sky, swallowing millions of devourers, and annihilated those devourers that ate away the enchantment. The previous thought power envelopes every devouring demon lord, although it is impossible to kill all of them. But under this powerful aura, the devouring demon lord does not have 1 in 10, leaving only a few 100,000. The light gradually dissipated. The crowd straightened up and looked towards the center of the battlefield. Especially tearing the sky, he took the lead and rushed into the core of the battlefield first. Fist-sized dust was always flying in the sky, and the white ground turned to jet black. Where? Look around. Huh. A figure suddenly appeared in the tearing sky reluctantly. His face was pale. His face was stained with blood and dirt. His armor was a bit torn, and his hair was shaky. Jian Wushuang. Tearing Tian couldn't believe it. Puff. The candle dragon's wings, covered by the dirt behind him, unfolded instantly. Feather is aggressive and domineering, suppressing this void. Why, you are surprised? Jian Wushuang's mouth raised, disdainfully said. Teen Tian shook his head quickly, and he was also frightened at this time. He never expected Jian Wushuang to die, but he just clearly felt Jian Wushuang. He blew himself up. Except for self-destruction, he couldn't imagine that dying immortal could exert such a terrifying aura. Wanqing Tiandi can't do it. No. Looking at the stunned Dao sovereign, Jian Wushuang said again. What I told you last time, you have to think about it. There are so many treasures on my body now. After saying this, Jian Wushuang's figure flashed and rushed towards the remaining devouring demon lord. His breath is actually very weak, and now he is just holding on. One thought of the universe explode. This is what he inspired when those emperors canyon in the Great Wilderness War. However, this trick cannot be used for many purposes. It can even be said that the moment of necessity is unavailable. Once he made a mistake, he blew himself up along with his own thoughts of the universe. After all, it is to let the real universe self-destruct and collapse. Although it cannot be compared to a real cosmic explosion, its origin and operation are the same. This blow can hurt the emperor and the strong, but it can also consume half of his divine body and origin. The whole Buddha's strength was drained, and a trace of thought power was gone. Fortunately, his mental strength was unlimited, and he still thought about the scene just now. Carefully comprehend all the methods, and you may not have to use this trick in the future. The rest of the people also reacted at this time, rushing towards the remaining devouring demon lord. Tearing the sky also recovered from the shock, and rushed to this side quickly. After this wave, most of them can no longer get the treasure point. Earning a little more now is a pinnacle treasure. Although Jian Wushuang was seriously injured, let alone the Juxian formation, even the phantom sword could not condense. He could only open the beast god realm, and use the blade of the candle dragon's wings, to kill these devouring demon lords together. It took a few hours to completely end the 9th wave of the battle for the city. The sky is dim. I don't know if it is night, or dust is covering the sun and the moon. When he returned to the city wall, Jian Wushuang sat cross-legged in the only attic. This was once the place where Mo Long was guarded. After learning that he had fallen, Jian Wushuang dropped a jug of wine, which was regarded as a farewell. If they have chance, there will be fall, and when they enter the temple of Qishan, they will have enlightenment. It's dead, what a pity. This battle, he has been here, is enough. He was exhausted, but he couldn't even take out a pill. Jian Wushuang was also lazy to recover. This injury was the heaviest in history. This kind of injury for death method really cannot be used frequently. If there is no temple of Qishan, he uses this trick, without the blessing of dirty wine. I am afraid he will fall into a deep sleep. It takes hundreds of millions of years of practice to regain the peak. He was severely injured in the past, and the divine body was on the verge of collapse, and he could recover in a day. Now it will take hundreds of millions of years. One can imagine how badly he suffered. The divine body collapsed, and the source was also turned off. The body is no longer there, and his eyes are extremely hollow. Pieces of rotten flesh fell off his pale face. Can't hold on anymore. His body is completely broken. Only a skeleton is left. Fortunately, it was covered by the mad demon armor, and the horror scene did not leak out. The head is still intact, and the hair on the pure skin hasn't fallen. In Shumi, there is nothing left besides the 4 origins, but there are some useless things, which can be obtained from killing those dying immortals. Look around, and find a scarf made of sackcloth. Wrapped his neck and head, it leaked 3 gaps. Eyes, nose, mouth. MX. Chapter 5268. With his bones slumped on the ground, he stood up with difficulty, leaning on the railing and looking out of the city. The wind keeps blowing. Most of the people on the city wall chose to retire. Before these people left, they said goodbye to Jian Wushuang one by one, as a thank you for this life-saving grace. Jian Wushuang didn't speak but nodded. After the end of the 9th wave, the identity token has not shown when the next wave will be opened, nor has it announced the number of devouring monarchs in the next wave. Jian Wushuang guessed secretly in his heart. It won't be the same as before. If the same as the previous one, he would have to retire in the 11th wave, and the 4 stars would devour the demon lord. He really couldn't stop him. 1 million still had hoped to fight it. For the sake of that origin big deal, he exploded again. 1 million 4 stars is not unstoppable. Of course this is a guess. Now the identity token has not been displayed, and he has no choice. According to the usual practice, he should take a day off this time. This time he has to redeem a time house and stay closed for at least 10,000 years. A time house of this level requires astronomical treasures. In the outside world it may be worthless. But at this time, on the eve of the trial, if you want to practice in retreat for 10,000 years, you have to pay a huge price. At least it would take a large sum of treasure points to restore the strength first, and then exchange for the treasures that increase the basic divine body. And if possible, the physical body must be cast to completion. After taking a breath he walked down the tower. Now he has one more thing, and that is to negotiate with Tearing the Sky, and try to win the Candle Dragon treasure as much as possible. Which treasure is most likely to be the claw of the Candle Dragon? Although he does not cultivate the claw Dao, he has the origin of the extreme Dao, and he can cultivate everything. And the cultivation speed is very fast. He has absorbed a lot of the origin of the claw, especially in the Emperor's Remnant. He also has a lot of unique understanding of the claw. Even if he uses the claw method, once the accessories of the 3 beasts are merged, the power may be able to surpass the imitation of the eternal treasure. By then his strength can be improved too much. At least after the increase in the divine body, it can soar to 10,000 times. 10,000 times. Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up, and a bold guess appeared in his heart. Once the guess is true, I am afraid his strength can rise again. Going down the stairs, Dao Shou Tian had already been waiting for him on the top of the city. The two stood side by side at the top of the city, both looking out of the city. Next, what are your plans? Ting Tian said calmly. Jian Wushuang took out 2 pots of spirits from Shumi. This wine didn't do much to him, except for the burning of the mouth. There was a hint of irritability in his mood, and it also had a special taste. Ting Tian wiped his mouth with his cuff, took the jug that was handed over, raised his head and took a sip. What else can I do? Continue to fight. There is no good choice now. Jian Wushuang took another sip, lying on the wall, staring out of the city. Through the dust, a ray of sunlight tilted, shining on the two of them. The two of them talked about their past, present, and future, like old friends for many years. Do you have any plans for the beast god soldier? Jian Wushuang smiled faintly. I have it, but there is still one thing missing. Which one? You guess. This one on me? Jian Wushuang shook his head. He tore the sky and leaked doubts, and then asked in amazement. Could it be that the old man with horns still has accessories for the beasts? No, there are so many benefits, let me get it. Jian Wushuang shook his head again. If he really wants to have it, he has to doubt it. According to his luck in the Qixin Temple, he is not so good yet. If Huiqing is down, it is still possible. Tearing the Sky nodded, and felt that he was thinking too much. After snorting he said, That's what I have. No, it's not that easy for the beast god soldier to merge. If it can merge, it won't be on you and me. Jian Wushuang said his opinion. What is that? You'll know later. At least the 11th wave will pass. 11 waves? Correct. Now let's talk about it first. How are you thinking about this one on your body? The most precious point on my body is enough to make you tempted. Jian Wushuang patted the identity token on the wall of the city. Tear the sky and reach out for it. He weighed it in his hand, nodded, frowned slightly and stared. not knowing whether it was smiling or angry. There are quite a few, and I'm pretty good. After a while he continued. But it's just tempting. After speaking, he threw the identity token to Jian Wushuang. He was not surprised at this point. If you don't know the beast god soldier, Tears might still hope to make a deal with him. But since he knows about the beast god soldier, he has no reason to give up. I can't admit that I can't, so I should give it to Jian Wushuang. Putting the token back into his body, Jian Wushuang was silent. The matter of the beasts and soldiers should be known to you and me. Don't worry, I won't talk about it. The prince to tear the sky looked up at the sky, feeling that his destiny was bad. Unfortunately with you, otherwise I will be alone on the road, and hopefully become an emperor. Indeed, if there were no Jian Wushuang, no one would really compete with him for that candle dragon wing. I am afraid that the 4 origins should also be in the hands of tearing the sky at this time. With his strength, although the 11th wave was a bit difficult, with the candle dragon wings, he could make up for his speed and raise his claws to another level, comparable to the half-step emperor. Once the fusion of the beasts and weapons, the tearing sky at that time is not an advanced half-step emperor, but can be comparable to the emperor. To complete the cultivation of the origin Tao, relying on the success of the Qishan temple to join the Tao, and the incomplete beasts, his combat power will soar to the sky. Take 4 steps steadily, but take the 5th step, looking at the 6 steps of the emperor. Such a great opportunity was intercepted by Jian Wushuang, and he had grievances in his heart, but he couldn't tell. Fortunately, chances are in contention, and he can't compete. Jian Wushuang also didn't recognize him, and he retorted, "Your luck is good enough. Compared with the tragic deaths of dying immortals, or those who have retired, you can still fight for the 10th or 10th. In one wave, your path has gone far enough. Please help me. Mimi Reading App can steal book tickets like stealing food. Come steal the book tickets of your friends, and vote for me. That's because they are too weak, it has nothing to do with me." The tearing face changed and said viciously. A cold light flashed in Jian Wushuang's eyes, and he replied, "Since you know, then you should understand that the regret in your mouth is just an excuse for your weakness. If you are strong, how can you still watch it? Exchange the wings." After tearing up the sky, he stabbed his sore spot, and he didn't know how to refute it for a while. The words are right, weak is wrong, and he himself admitted this. But when this happened to him, he didn't want to admit it. "Thank you for reminding." Tin Tian stood aside, his face eased, and his voice was neither overbearing nor overbearing. "Did you think about it?" Jian Wushuang stared at him. If he spends money to solve it quickly, he would be lazy to use some conspiracy. Half of the treasure point is enough, almost more than 6 million, which is enough to raise the foundation to the half-step emperor level, which is much stronger than it is now. Chapter 5269. This opportunity is now placed in front of the tearing sky. After refusing one after another, Jian Wushuang didn't want to waste time, so he showed off directly. If you accept it, everyone is happy. If you don't accept it, then you will see the difference in the future. Even if the temple of the gods is out, he will travel the primitive universe, looking for the accessories of the tearing sky and the beasts. He must get it. Don't give up. He learned from the old man with horns that the eternal treasure was refined by those at the pinnacle of the universe in ancient times, and it belonged to the emperor's treasure. There is rarely a master of the universe who uses the eternal treasure, and he uses the treasure of a higher level of the universe. The treasure of the universe refined from a universe. Although Jian Wushuang didn't know how strong he was, he could understand what the universe was. And the treasure of the beast god soldier was made by beheading a beast who innately mastered the origin of the universe. There are many universes, and there are many universes in every long river of time and space, and there are few innate beasts and gods. In ancient times, only a few beast gods were killed by the gods. Use the skeleton and flesh and blood of beast gods to cast its body, and its innate origin of the universe as its soul. Beast god soldier. This is the real beast weapon. These treasures, let alone the emperor, Even the masters of the universe are looting frantically. How can this not make him tempted? Although they are incomplete, as long as they merge with each other to nurture a trace of spatial origin, even with a trace of power in the past, Jian Wushuang can run rampant in the primitive universe. Although the eternal treasure is good, he can't bear it, let alone drive it. The eternal treasure that is most used to prevent. But that kind of treasure is also available, not what he wants to get. In Xiuhuang City, there was only one thing, and it was finally obtained by Wanxing. It was still a big seal, and it was of little use to him. As for whether there is a chance to get the imitation of the eternal treasure in the future, it depends on luck. Jian Wushuang is not a person who came here by luck. The future is far away, and he only strives for the present. Who tearing the sky seemed to have made a decision, took a long breath and said, "Weak and small have no right to choose, but I still have confidence in guarding my own opportunities." In response to this answer, Jian Wushuang made psychological preparations. If the treasure was given to him so easily, he would be a little worried. Okay. Jian Wushuang played with taste. Death without regrets. The two passed by. Jian Wushuang headed to the city lord's mansion, ready to digest the results of this battle. And when he returned again, he was stronger than before. And it was not a treasure that could stop him. Even if Jian Wushuang couldn't get it, the candle dragon wings and the candle dragon eyes were enough for him to use the emperor. He can understand the unrepentance of tearing the sky, but will not let it go. In the city lord's mansion, the plaques of the 4 great halls are still eye-catching, and tens of thousands of Dayan immortals gather outside the hall gates. All of these people chose to retire, and some of them are limited. Jian Wushuang glanced around, but didn't think much. This time the 9th wave of devouring demon lord did cause them heavy losses. Now on the 4 major walls, all people together, I am afraid there are not 50,000 people. Now there are more than 30,000 Dayan immortals gathered here. Among them, there is also the ultimate Dayan immortal, who has collected 100,000 treasure points, and chose to accept the inheritance of the first class and cultivate the emperor's genius. Peak Dayan immortal also has powerful people, who have gathered tens of thousands of treasures. They all have great prospects. Xiao Huangqing is just the end of the 2nd stage. Other top Dayan immortals have accumulated a lot of treasures, and at least the inheritance of redeeming a handle is not a problem. To know these inheritances, the worst is also a reply to the emperor's unique knowledge. Someone once accepted the inheritance of Ding et al. Their strength has doubled several times, and the emperor's unique knowledge of cultivation is also extremely powerful, not at all weaker than the external emperor's unique knowledge. However, the inheritance of Ding Dang has been completely exchanged today, and there are only a lot of handles left. Jian Wushuang was not very interested in these from the beginning, and stepped into the palace on his own. At this critical juncture, it is still important to restore strength. He has a hunch that the next 10 waves are the key. The previous 9 waves are just a small fight, and continue to filter out the most powerful evangelists. After entering the treasure hall, Xiao Huang's figure flew out of the pot, as before, except that the smile on his face was more cordial than ever. "Senior." Jian Wushuang bowed slightly, his expression extremely respectful. Xiao Huang, who was sitting above, waved his hand quickly, looking indifferent. Ugh! Xiao Huang was a little regretful. In his opinion, the strength of Jian Wushuang and the 10,000-star Heavenly Emperor were comparable to those of the ancient Daozi. But Zhenling was most optimistic about the little monk named Huiqing. Even more, he will not hesitate to lower the top inheritance and an eternal treasure. Among the thousands of inheritors, one is the only one. Perhaps his vision is too narrow, but he feels that Jian Wushuang's strength, potential, and even the foundation are the strongest. Under the recommendation, My Reading app is really good. It is worth installing one for book friends, and both Android and iPhone support. In terms of combat power, it was a little bit behind Wanxing. However, once the beasts and gods merged and recondensed the origin of the space, Jian Wushuang's combat power was not weaker than Wanxing. Moreover, the current Jian Wushuang is still ranked 9, and even Dian Immortal's road has not yet been completed. Jian Wushuang below saw Qiu Huang sigh, not knowing why. Before he could speak, Qiu Huang said, I think you are seriously injured. Is this time to repair the divine body and origin? Jian Wushuang nodded his head and said respectfully, I also hope that the seniors will not hesitate to advise. He really left him to choose. He really didn't know what treasure was the best value to redeem. Wow. Countless treasures appeared in the hall. Your divine body is broken. It's a bit troublesome. Qiu Huang frowned, his eyes turned, and soon he had a perfect match plan. These treasures are the most suitable for you. Qiu Huang waved his hand, and a pile of extremely precious treasures flew towards Jian Wu Duan. There are introductions above. Jian Wushuang can see the role of these treasures at a glance. He knew the function of everything, but he really didn't know anything about matching them. The flesh and blood of the giant gods. Jian Wushuang looked at the flesh group. His heart was shaken. Although I don't know the giant clan, which clan it is, but this group of flesh and blood is definitely dug out from the emperor's body. 80,000 treasure point. Jian Wushuang couldn't help taking a breath. Now he has more than 10 million treasures in total. This is just one of the many treasures that restore the divine body. And there are a lot of treasures, all of which are worth tens of thousands of treasures, adding up to 1 million. He couldn't help taking a sip of water and looked up at Qiu Huang. Qiu Huang on the throne seemed to have seen Jian Wushuang's doubts. Is it too wasteful and extravagant to spend millions of treasure points to repair the divine body? Boy, don't worry, Qiu Huang said lightly. These treasures are indeed too wasteful to repair the divine body. But they are not only treasures for the restoration of the divine body, they can also strengthen your divine body. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.